Welcome back, everyone, to our coverage of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. Getting ready here for the knockout stage. This is the first day of the quarterfinals, and we appreciate those of you that are joining us before any moves are made, although I believe they will be made in about 30 seconds. We have survived the first wave of attack from the Bota's Live Technical Difficulties Initiative.
Yes, we did. We're too strong. Yesterday, they won a couple battles, but we're going to win the overall war.
Yep. Alexandra nearly didn't have a microphone for the exit interviews yesterday. People yelling for a clock, no moves have been made, so therefore there is no live clock. If no moves have been played in a chess game with a clock, does the clock even exist? I don't know. You should debate that with yourselves. We have 8 players. 8 of them will be sitting at home today, watching, or maybe not. Maybe they won't be watching. We have Nepo versus Caruana. Caruana, the #1 seed. The 2nd seed, Anish Giri versus Timur Rajabov. The 3rd seed, our very own Hikaru Nakamura versus Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen is like... He's like the really good basketball team that had the best players injured for the entire season, so he barely made it into the playoffs. But now they're all back. And even though he's the 6th seed tied for 7th, or no, he wasn't tied for 7th ultimately, but the 6th seed, if there's anybody you want to play in the first round, it's probably one of the other guys. But on the good news, at least, is that we're going to have some really exciting chess. So,
yeah, I mean,
no moves.
Nobody ever complains when they get to watch Hikaru and Magnus play. So starting off with it, you know, we're not going to be able to build it up just as much, but I think it'll be super exciting. Also, I'm excited for Caruana and Nepomniachtchi, given that Nepomniachtchi is going to be the world champion challenger, and last time it was Caruana, so it'll be fun to see them play, especially with Nepo's playing style versus Caruana, who tends to be a little bit more solid. And Giri and Rajabov, also a very fun pairing to take a look at. Although I imagine we're going to be focusing on the Hikaru Carlsen game, assuming that we can actually pull it up.
Yeah, I don't see any moves. I mean, I can refresh. Let's try that. I believe I already did refresh, but
Yep.
The thing is, when it's Magnus playing, he can essentially show up at any point, and it'll all be good. Are people saying that other games have begun? Oh wow, oh they very much have begun actually.
Okay, well we'll have these open on the side. Which one do you see has already started? Giri, Rajabov.
All of them. Every
all of them
game.
Except the one the people care about.
Right. Okay. Oh well. Okay. Well now we have moves. So Hikaru is with the white pieces. Plays e4. We have a mainline Spanish. Okay. Knight takes e4 is definitely aggressive. So I think Hikaru will now play d4. We will get b5, bishop b3, d5. This is all the good stuff. I don't know when this line became popular, but it's extremely popular nowadays. Who do we want on the small board, people?
Why is Magnus playing from a Monaco flag?
What?
And I don't think this is him. I think this is chess.com. I see him with a Monaco flag. Monaco. Sorry. On my chess.com. But that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, no. My events page has a very confident Norwegian flag.
Okay. Mine is a little bit confused, but
I see.
It is what it is. I'm gonna refresh. Okay.
Hey, isn't Monaco very nice? Wouldn't be.
It is very nice, and oh, it changed. Okay, it's back to Norway. All right. Chess.com is feeling feisty today. So knight b2. Hikaru is challenging the knight on the center. Is this still theory so far, Levy?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know exactly, but I drew the arrow knight c5. I think. Okay, there it is. Yeah, now c3, and white tries to dip the bishop back to c2, and I think play rook e1, knight d4. If you want to check the database, you are more than welcome to. I think that there have still been thousands of games played in this position, so I wonder what Magnus has come prepared with. I don't believe... The thing is that they have played so many games against each other in the past year.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I checked the chess.com database, and it somehow got me into chess 960. Look, there was a Monaco flag. It got into chess 960. I'm actually not going to check the database because it seems like this events page makes things a little bit jittery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Because you can click. You can. I didn't even realize that you could click the openings button. I mean,
Yeah,
God
yeah.
forbid you click the vote button. The whole thing will probably cry. I don't know. The
Yeah,
hell
so
is
I'm
that?
just I'm just not gonna play with it. I'm gonna leave it here as it is because it would be cool to see if they've played this position before.
I don't believe they have ever played the position against each other, but I do
Mhm.
believe. Um, I became acquainted with this variation
Mhm.
after I like showed the match between Karpov and Korchnoi in 1978
Mhm.
in the Philippines. Like you look at so many of those games, and Korchnoi just kept playing this against Karpov, like, and then they just played it all the time. And there were some games that Korchnoi just lost like in 20 moves with Black, and
Oh
then there were some
wow.
games he like got really good positions. So they were
Interesting.
the
That is the vibe this opening gives me because white has way more space in the center. The bishop's going to hop to c2, so you're going to have both of the bishops looking towards black's king. If the knight ever moves from f3, the f4 pawn is coming as well. So it seems like white can get a really rapid attack against the king side, but if black somehow is able to fend it off, then that pawn on e5 might end up being a little bit of a target after, and he's going to have a queenside advantage. And as we saw yesterday and have known for a very long time now, Magnus is a very good defender, and he does like provoking his opponents to do things like this.
Yeah, I pulled up the database. So if you go to move 5, uh,
Bless you, Levy. I love opening databases. Okay.
oh,
After knight takes c4.
I thought you were accusing me of sneezing, and I was like,
Oh,
no, that plenty of that will probably happen as well.
don't
Today's
worry. I was just very excited to see the opening since I couldn't look it up.
well, knight takes e4 on move 5 is like played in less than 10% of games. I mean, people play bishop e7 and then they go into kind of the normal stuff.
Mhm.
But okay, let's just quickly. Yeah, there are still like so many games. You go up until move 8, bishop e6, knight d2 breaks a little bit, c3. The big break comes on move 10 for black. There's a ton of games, but Magnus chooses the main line, bishop e7, bishop c2. Like
I have
wow,
not seen
oh
c2 played yet on my board, so I'm going to refresh it.
no. So bishop c2 by
Yep.
Hikaru. But okay, so
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yep.
here's the interesting thing. Move 12. Move 12.
Mm-hmm.
Magnus took the pawn on c3.
Mm-hmm.
That has been played in 6 out of 318 games. So
Wow. So this is not popular.
yeah, everybody pushes the pawn. So there it is. Like Magnus will not go into some new theoretical frontier without some surprise. So he
Mm-hmm.
takes on c3. And I guess it's supposed to not be as good because otherwise everybody would play it. And there's many draws here, and there's one win where Maxime Vacher-Lagrave, the guy playing Wesley So, defeated Yu Yangyi, one of the strongest Chinese grandmasters.
And
But
how long ago was that game?
that was in 2019 in what I would imagine to be the Grand Swiss, the tournament where Wang Hao won and qualified for the candidates.
Got it. So 2019. So 2 years. Is theory still considered fresh at Super Grandmaster level? Can they look at those games and depend on them for inspiration, so to
I'll
say?
probably gotta ask Super GMs, right? Like I feel like they have their own.
Levy, you're our temporary Super GM in residence.
I think every Super GM in the world just visibly twitched, like.
Well,
Ugh.
there must be one at least watching. No, probably not. Okay. Anyway, so then
How many are there? Like Jordan Van Forest.
yeah, there's like sorry, go ahead.
Well, Jordan was here a couple days ago, and he said that he's the second lowest rated 2700 because he's like 2701 or something or 02, and Bassem Amin from Egypt is.
Oh yeah, the doctor, right? The one who's
Yeah,
was super GM and a doctor and just makes everybody else look bad.
yeah. Like
Yeah, that's intimidating.
being a super GM. If you have something else attached to your name, it's really cool. For example, Anish is like a father, family man. Like that's awesome. Twitter
Memer.
savant,
Yeah.
social media mogul. He like Bassem Amin is a doctor. Like we need to look for the guys that are not just top at chess. They need something else, you know? Like we're gonna find out one of these
Yeah.
guys. Like Wesley is a professional cricket.
Is he?
I don't know. I want the top players in the world to be known for something else also. You
I
know,
like that, but it's a hard ask because chess is already so complicated. I mean, even this opening position is already pretty crazy because you look at Hikaru and now he has that weird pawn structure on the queen side. His pawn is all the way on e5. He's controlling a lot of space. It looks like queen d7. Magnus is down to trade queens, and if he does trade queens, he probably has a slightly better endgame. Do you think he could be considering castling queenside here? That's definitely too scary. Probably not. Maybe just something like rook d8.
well, all I know is that, and yes, folks, obviously, Hikaru does have the attachment of being a massive streamer. Yes, obviously. I was more talking about the ones that I don't know much about, like some of these players. I have no clue what Fabiano is interested in behind the scenes. Every like 3 weeks on Instagram, I will see the story of Fabiano Caruana illuminated, and I get really excited because I never see anything about it. So I click it, and it's like a cat, and I'm like, my man, I'm glad you're having a good time. But like some of these guys, like I don't know, they're you just don't hear anything about them ever. And as far as you said before, I get accused of donut walling you, I can tell how asleep I still am and how the coffee has not kicked in, because you said, would he consider castling queenside? And for a second, I thought you meant Hikaru, which would be very impressive. Considering
Hikaru just takes his king, pulls an Aronian, gets it to d2, b1. Okay, he did play rook d8. So this is actually what I expected. Magnus, by the time we were finished with our rant, actually ended up just answering the question.
Yeah, he plays rook d8. I guess he's gonna go short side.
But now I'm interested in the Fabiano cat story. But it's okay. I'll put my attention back to this game. He is gonna castle shorthand. Levy, which side would you prefer to play with here, black or white?
Like, does my opponent stay the same?
Just imagine
or
an opponent of equal value.
Okay, so Eric Rosen is my opponent. Got it.
Yes.
Definitely with white. Just queen c2, man can't castle short, bishop h7. I'm gonna win it in like over under like 6 moves. Yeah.
Okay, I like the confidence. So
Yeah.
you prefer the white side of the pieces. You like attacking. You feel like it's easier to play.
Well, I don't think you want to trade queens. I mean, you can trade queens, and obviously you can't take with the rook because then you would take the knight on c6. I gotta get my shots in at Eric because I'm pretty sure he's on the oh wait, no, he's not on the West Coast anymore. I thought he was on the West Coast, so he's asleep. So he
Did he go back? Is he still staying in St. Louis?
He might be home. Yeah. So just it'll be our secret. No one has to tell Eric anything. Like everybody, you know, just
It's a little friendly trash talk. I totally understand. I'm sure you guys are friends, and it's how it goes in the chess world.
We are friends. We talked on the phone last week, chatted about life, gave each other we are in the business of no trade secrets. So we Eric was one of the first people who gave me YouTube advice. He just was like, "Hey, I see you want to make YouTube videos. Let's chat. I'll give you a little bit of advice." Then I gave him a little bit of advice. He didn't take my advice, but that's a him thing. That I gave good advice. I was like, "This is what you got to do. You got to do this and this." He's like, "I'm gonna focus on merch." Who got some Eric Rosen merch? Chat?
I do not yet, but it does sound incredible.
Well, he's supposed to send the merch to the streamers, you know? Because
yeah, that is the pro move that all streamers do when they want, the free advertising. So
like Ludwig sent merch out to people, not to me, but to people. Did you get some Ludwig merch?
I did not, Levy. I did not. You know who did though?
Who?
Our favorite Robert Hess.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, Ludwig obviously getting in the top tier training. with Grandmaster Robert Hess, who's a very. I'm pretty sure he's quite a renowned chess coach on the mean streets of New York City. Teaches a lot of really strong junior players.
Yeah, no, I mean Robert is an incredible coach. But anyway, let's get back into the game here. So Magnus has been sitting for a little while. Hikaru decides not to trade queens, which is what we expected. It feels very dangerous for Magnus to castle queenside, so I imagine he's going to end up delaying it. But if he does delay it, he's going to have to create some kind of plan, and it is difficult in this situation because it doesn't look like he can necessarily move his queenside pawns forward anymore. Maybe something like b4 in the future. So other than that, he's not going to be able to bring his rook on h8 to the game. Maybe he can try to trade off light square bishops because then he can castle in the future.
Yeah,
however,
I was gonna say bishop d5 probably.
Yeah, bishop d5 I like a lot. But then does Magnus have to trade it? I guess if he retreats his bishop, then you take the knight on f3, and you can't go to d3 because then your bishop is going to be under attack.
Yeah, I would expect bishop d5, just because the bishop on e4 is Hikaru's best placed piece. I mean, I've been drawing this arrow bishop g5, but the truth is, even something really obscure like bishop to e3, you know, in the modern era of computer chess, I actually really like the move bishop e3 because that trades off black's most active piece and it opens the f file. And then I can play rook d1 and no one can guard the knight on c6. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the best move is bishop e3. I mean, if it was like Hikaru's move right now.
Right. Yeah, and you could play bishop e3 after bishop d5 as well. You could just leave your bishop on e4. You could always recapture back with the queen. Then you're still putting pressure on the bishop on c5, and you're getting all of your pieces super active. That being said, if somehow Magnus survives the opening and Hikaru ends up in an endgame with a pawn on e3, e5, c3, a2, that's going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that's the big problem with playing bishop e3 and not actually winning the game. And if anybody's confused why Hikaru is not playing bishop takes h7, first of all, it's not his move. But second of all, even if it was his move, bishop h7 is a very bad move here.
You don't want to trap your bishop.
Yeah, first of all...
And even if you weren't going to trap the bishop with g6, probably don't want to open up the h file.
Yeah, like, the thing is that black isn't castled. If Magnus plays short castle now and somehow just completely blunders bishop takes h7 check, then you take it. He's played knight e7. I get it, but I kind of hate it. And, well, now I mean, bishop e3 is a plan, but bishop g5, like, pins the knight, and then you can't move. What is his idea after bishop g5? h6?
Bishop g5, so just immediately go and pin the knight here.
And
then can he just leave the knight, or does he have to kick the bishop out?
Well, bishop g5 isn't actually threatening anything with the bishop. I want to play rook d1. So h6, rook d1, and then bishop takes knight, bishop c6 check, and probably black resigns.
I love it. Just black resigns. He just gives up here.
Well, that's the idea, right? Well, resignation for the opponent is always the idea, but I wanna know how bad the computer hates my idea of bishop e3 right now. Bishop e3, fe3. It doesn't really hate it. In fact, it's starting to get convinced. It wants to go h6, which prevents me from taking on h7. Okay, and then
makes sense. So like, that you can maybe castle.
I'd like c5. Okay. Yeah, I guess after knight e7, Magnus has covered some of the infiltration squares. So it wouldn't be knight d4, but it would be like rook d1. No, I actually still like it. I don't think Hikaru should do it. Yeah, Hikaru just plays bishop g5, and black is worse here. Quite a bit.
Black is worse here, and I think we've had this since the start of the game where we feel like the position has been harder for Magnus to play. That being said, he's worse because he's cramped. And this is the kind of position that Magnus is very good at slowly detangling himself from.
I don't know. I don't know the word detangle. I thought it was untangle.
That is what I meant.
Ah,
Untangle. Hey, you grew up bilingual. You just confuse a couple words here and there.
didn't
But
you
I appreciate you
didn't you
saying
go to
that one.
Stanford? I feel like like words should come kind of naturally. I don't know.
It was a short stint.
Didn't you
But
go there for 4 years?
yeah, 4 years. Well, I took a quarter off.
Okay,
So
fair.
so it was not the full 4 years, but I guess it was,
See,
quite a little
I went
bit
to a garbage school, and I'm still. I do my wordisms. I'm all right with my words.
with your words. Well, I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I actually mix words a lot. Words and numbers, and even when I play chess, for example, G5, I'll sometimes say that's B4. So a little bit annoying, to be honest. Anyway,
Oh,
so
so now I
Bishop.
just look terrible. Well, all right. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. I had no idea.
How could you? How could you?
Listen. I've learned from my mistakes. I have further educated myself
The other
on.
thing is detangler is a word for this hairspray that I used to use as a kid that would detangle your hair. So that's also why I used it.
Mm,
Now I don't know if I'm right, but let's get back to the chess. No, it is totally fine. Actually, yes, it's called detangling stuff.
aha.
It's hair detangler, so that's where it came from.
So
But
Magnus has
h6,
to
and your prediction is right.
Magnus has to detangle his hair in this position, or else he's gonna be in some serious trouble.
Exactly.
Rook F D1. Rook F D1. Why Rook F D1 and not Rook A D1? Why? What
Yeah,
is it?
I thought rook AD1 made way more sense as well because the rook on F1 seems like it's more likely to be used. But I saw the computer kept suggesting rook FD1 for some reason. Do you think it has something to do with like bishop C4 with tempo?
Wow, Bishop C4 to attack the rook on F1. Um, maybe. Maybe it's that Hikaru wants to play A4 and he needs a rook to support the pawn. And maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why. It's actually a good point. Good point. It's the age-old question. You got two rooks. You got four squares to put them. What do you do?
That's actually a question that I wanted to ask you because I sometimes still get confused. I have students, they're even more confused than I am. As a big, mighty I am, do you always know which rook to put on the open file?
Alexandra, let me just be honest with you. International masters suck at chess. Like we are so bad. Like
Stop.
we're so bad at this game, especially compared to the guys we have on the screen. So I am inclined to believe them when they play a move. I'm like, you know what? Let me try to analyze why Hikaru would play Rook FD1, and then we start coming to the conclusion it's because of A4, etc. But I'm happy we sort of predicted this sequence, that we are not at this level, but we predicted that this would happen, and now bishop c6, and now the question becomes, is Magnus going to take with the king? Because if he takes with the bishop, and we get bishop c6 check, like, he has to play king f8. He can't block with the bishop, because, chat, what's the best move here for white? Very good.
Oh, wow.
Rook takes bishop, and then
Yep.
you pin again, and there it is! King is on e7, knight d4! Let's go!
Wow. Okay. I like that he traded off one rook first because now he can at least try to bring the other rook to d8. And when there's less pieces on the board, if your king is in a very suspicious position, it's a little less scary. But the hard thing for Magnus is that he can't even play rook d8 here because knight c6 is coming in. If he could somehow pseudo castle, that would make sense for him, but it seems a little bit too slow. Hikaru's pieces are way too active here.
All right, look, I gotta give respect to the pseudo castle. All right, I take back all previous sarcastic, jabs. A few people got very upset with me.
Don't worry,
I
my
like that.
chat knows you're memeing.
Pseudo castle. See,
Pseudo castle, exactly.
I'm still one of these like nerds who says castle by hand. Rook e8, king f8. By the way, speaking of, why is rook e8 not a good move? And then king f8.
King e8 doesn't work because of knight c6, right?
No, rook e8, not d8. Rook d8,
Oh.
knight c6, yeah, and then we win. But rook e8.
Yeah, rook e8 makes a lot more sense. And then I would actually be tempted to play bishop f6, but then the rook could actually go to d8 since the bishop on c6 would be taking away the square from the knight.
Oh, wow, yeah, rook e8, bishop c6, rook d8. Oops.
Yeah, and
Now-
then somehow you got on there.
Queen h7?
Ooh.
If your queen gets to h7, but yeah, computer is just unfazed. Computer is like, take d4, take bishop c4, sack the pawn, queen e6. That might happen. See, this is the thing. Magnus is very good at finding practical defensive resources. Chuck a pawn, but activate all of your pieces. Whereas, it might be very likely for Hikaru here that he doesn't need to infiltrate on h7 with the queen and win pawns. He needs to focus on the king. And yeah, see, like, computer is suggesting Hikaru plays bishop to f3 on the next move and just brings his queen to the center. When you feel the initiative coming and you see that you can cash out, you're gonna do it. You're gonna win the pawn or the two pawns. It's very hard to continue to suppress your opponent's play. So we'll see what happens.
This actually, so I was doing a chess lesson yesterday with one of my students who's about, let's say, 1500 on chess.com. And this was the kind of position we were discussing for short term versus long term. Because here, Hikaru definitely has a short term advantage. But when you have something like this, every move is very important because you are trying to keep up your tempos and use the fact that you have a slightly better position. Your opponent's king is in the center of the board. But if you somehow play too slowly and your opponent is able to unravel, then you're going to really quickly realize that your position is no longer so good anymore. And you actually might end up being worse if you don't play quickly.
Well, speaking of which, we have rook to e8.
And
yeah, now
detangling or untangling, whatever we want to go with, is beginning. Do you have any moves you like here for Hikaru?
Well, optically, I really like f. Wait, did a move get played? Magnus is. Wait, whoa. What is this? Hold on, let me refresh. I don't know what just happened. Hikaru has played bishop f3, so he actually did find the best move. I mean, he just straight up found the best move. Just back a square.
What move did you see? Oh, bishop f3. Okay, yep, it's on my board as well.
Yeah, that was basically events passed the move back to Magnus because Hikaru had played bishop f3, but rather than showing me bishop f3, it showed me the other line that I had analyzed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally understand that.
Yeah, so bishop f3 is nice, and now I guess he's just gonna play...
just pause for a second. With bishop f3, is he trying to make space for his queen to come onto e4, or what is the plan with bishop f3?
I think the threat is knight c6, king f8, queen h7, right?
Ah, okay, and queen h7? So basically, he just wanted to move the bishop out of the way so that the queen could hop into h7.
Yeah, and you need to go knight c6 first, because if you just play queen h7, I will take your knight. And you will not get knight c6. So the threat, for example, I don't know if Magnus plays h5, here, queen h7, and Magnus resigns.
Yep, and this time Magnus would actually resign in this position, not, similar to some of our earlier situations where we were memeing.
Yeah, well, now, I mean, Magnus is going to 100% take the knight, I think. I cannot imagine he... Like, what is he going to play? g6 to stop queen h7? But then you can still put the knight on c6? I don't know.
Yeah, the knight on c6 is just too powerful, and it feels like he would lose long-term control over the open d file, so that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Does Magnus actually have a minute somehow? I don't...
My clock shows 3:30. Your clock shows a minute. If we have anybody here who wants to go check what the actual time is, it would be appreciated, please.
3 minutes. Nice. Wait, how much time did you say is on your clock?
3:30, and people are saying 3:35 in my chat.
Yeah, then that's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, he does play g6. Wow.
And so knight c6. Wow, the computer doesn't actually like knight c6 here.
It likes queen d2, which is exactly what Hikaru played. He uses g6 against Magnus because pawns can't go backwards. Now h6 is weak, and if h5 is played, queen g5, and Magnus will resign. Or actually, then knight c6, queen h6 also. Maybe. But then king g8. Okay.
Wow. This
is
nice. The master class in using pawn weaknesses. Now that there's one weakness created, he's going there and provoking another one right away.
Yeah, cd4, pawns together, d5 is coming, queen b4 is another problem. Magnus's king will have to go to the center. This is hopeless. But see, now he plays bishop g4, and it's a little bit tricky. It's just a little bit tricky. Now the best move apparently is d4, d5, which, you know, what? Like what? Just
D4,
d6,
D5,
just d6.
grabbing all of that space. I guess if the king ever goes back, then you can take h6 with check. Because right now, if bishop takes, queen takes, Hikaru cannot grab the pawn on h6 because his rook on d1 would not be protected. So he'd probably have to push the queen away first.
Yeah, which I think he'll do. Like, I think it's far more human to take, and push a pawn. The point of d5, by the way, I think, is that if d5 bishop takes bishop, d6 check. And the problem is that you can't take because queen d6 is mate.
Right.
Which he might find. I must say, like, if you just see that, you might just play d5, because you see that bishop takes bishop is impossible.
Right.
On the board. Hey!
E5, what a move. I mean, Hikaru has played this game incredibly. And what a finish off this could be.
Yeah, I think when Magnus played bishop g4, he kind of thought, all right, I'll suffer in the endgame. But the problem is there are far too many tactics. And the king just does not, it just doesn't belong on e7, unless you played the bomb cloud. But yeah, this is
I mean, this has been such a rough game for Magnus. Do you think it's mostly just because he got into this opening that was so difficult to play?
Yep, I think it was a big opening gamble. And d takes c3 is, let's put it this way. People don't play that, not because all the games will end up looking like this, but I guess because all of the attacking chances are with white and the position is hard to play. So Magnus takes an opening gamble, and I mean, let's not jinx anything. We did have a game where Magnus had this exact same level of advantage yesterday and didn't convert it. Also, the last time that Hikaru did defeat Magnus, there was a moment later in the game, it was like -7, and then I got yelled at for jinxing. So I'm just gonna be quiet and let the moves happen, and, you know, d6 now.
We're only explaining what, the objective evaluation of the position is here. Nobody can get upset at you for that. Bishop takes f3. Oh man, so d6, he cannot recapture, which means he has to move his king. So he can go king f8, but then he runs into h6 or d7. So he has to play king d7 to block it.
Yeah, he's just gonna hang on for dear life here. So d6, king d7, and then you take the bishop. And then what the hell is the king doing on d7?
Well, Magnus, he's joining the party with his queen and his rook and hoping for the best.
Then Magnus will probably play c6 or c5. I would imagine. So bishop f3, d6.
Well, d6, king d7. Wouldn't it make sense to take on c7 first to open up the center before taking the bishop?
Then I can play king takes, I think. And you can't win my queen because I have bishop c6.
Yeah, that's actually really annoying. It's actually really annoying. So you have to take on f3. But still, the king looks very naked after this series of moves. Whereas if you don't take on c7 first and you take the bishop, I guess c5 gives the black king a temporary blockade. But his pawns are so weak that I imagine they're going to topple after moves like queen d5.
It's very, very tense. I mean, when you go d6, if this was Title Tuesday, d6 would have been played a long time ago. But again, it's very different. Stakes are higher. The opportunity to defeat Magnus Carlsen is there. And you got to really make sure that before you play d6, everything is all good. Now, make no mistake, if Hikaru plays gf3, he's still much better. It's much better because of the tactics of this endgame. You have two connected pawns on the 5th rank like this, standing completely unopposed. d6 is on the cards. This king is going to have to scatter for shelter on g8 or g7. White is much better, and he's played d6, and now it's... yeah, king d7. Okay, now we can take the bishop, and probably Magnus will play rook e6 and c6 and something, yeah. Queen f4 to try to hit f7. So far, Hikaru has played like 15 computer moves in a row, so he's really on fire.
He has played so well here. What an incredible start. And I guess, this is a comeback for... Well, actually, yesterday he was able to draw the game. And this is what the first game he started off with white in how long now?
A
Eight
while. Well,
matches?
I
Eight
mean,
matches? Yeah.
in the prelims, yeah, but in the last playoffs, they obviously he had some games with white. It's actually
Right.
funny if you take on c7, king c7, rook c1, rook c6, queen d6, king b7, black is fine.
No.
And that's just brutal. That's just the brutal nature of chess.
No.
So you have to play moves like queen f4 and rook c1. You have to be patient.
That's actually insane that the king is wide open, doesn't have any pawns protecting him, and he can still survive this somehow, which is why this position is not over yet.
Nope.
This position is not over yet. Magnus is insane in defending things. Hikaru is insane in attacking. We're really seeing the best of the best facing off against each other here. So that's why Hikaru is sitting here. So queen f4 is the move you liked, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just like attacking f7, and then the benefit in chess is when you know your opponent's next move. So queen f4, you know the opponent is going to play queen e8. There's nothing else.
Yep, no other way to protect the pawn.
Yeah, because if you play f5, I mean, I take on passant, and in this case, it's actually a very good move, so Anarchy Chess is happy. Rook c1 is also, you know, your opponent's next move is c6. I doubt c5 is going to be played. Just seems a bit too... a bit too... airy.
Well, c6 or c5? c5,
No,
yeah.
yeah, c5 is just...
It feels wrong. You don't really want to give up the d5 square on top of everything else. C6 does feel a little bit more concise, and when your king is in the center, you know, you want to keep the pawns close to him to keep him warm a little bit.
Wow, he completely doesn't agree.
And he plays c5.
Well, you know, now he's going to have to play c4 because Hikaru is going to play queen e3. Like, of course you play queen e3. You attack this with the rook, so Magnus will have to go c4. I guess here's what Magnus is thinking. I'm screwed, but if I somehow survive, I will have a pass pawn on c4. That's probably what he's thinking here.
Yeah, it makes sense. You have to go for a desperado at some point. I don't know if the time situation is accurate, but 4 minutes versus a minute and a half. So Magnus is also in time pressure here.
No, but this is over. Queen a7, rook d1. No, queen a7, rook d1, black resigns, bro. I mean, like, literally, what even is there? Queen a7, king e8, rook d1, queen d7, like, queen a8, queen a6, and then you just start taking all the pawns, and the pawn is pushing. But, okay, no jinxing, yeah? We just have to play chess. I don't know anything about the result. But this looks really, really good for white. So, that's it.
So is there what would be the I mean honestly, yeah, this looks just so difficult to defend with the black side of the pieces. There aren't even any tricks unless you somehow end up trading queens and then you have the pass c pawn. But
Right, like,
I don't think Hikaru is interested in any queen trades here.
no, okay, he's played rook d1. Now Magnus will play queen d7. And here I'm wondering if you can give a check and push the d pawn if that's winning. If that endgame is winning with the pawn on d7, king e7. Okay, Hikaru does this. I think he's just going to take a6. Yeah, this is what I said. Just take all of Magnus's toys away from him.
Right. And Magnus has one feel-good check on g5. But then you move the king to f1 or to h1 and there's no more checks after, and your king is still exposed.
Yeah. How is he finding these moves? Guys, the thing is that I know there's this thing right here, down here, that shows the move, and then, you know, Hikaru's playing the move. This position's not that hard to play, because the wedge of pawns that you have here completely shuts down these three pieces. They are forced to defend the advancement of the pawn, and your queen is your most powerful piece. So what do you do with your most powerful piece? You go beat the crap out of your opponent with it. So queen a7, right? Now he will take on b5. And,
and some people were asking why not rook takes e5. I think it's because you have d7, king f8, and queen d6 check.
Yeah. Like a while ago, now you go king f1 to flex, but I think Hikaru will play king h1. Although I think king f1's the better move, because you're closer to the center. And you're safe, most important thing. Otherwise, going to the corner is good. Beginners sometimes are like, I don't want to go to the corner, I'm getting stuck. But your king needs to get stuck. It needs to not be in any danger. But he goes to f1, and that's the best move.
Right.
Can you take in d7?
Oh,
Yes!
yeah, he can. D7 is coming. There's no more checks, and we have a resignation. So
Ooh!
Hikaru did get this first win. That was a really, really nicely played game. I mean, he was better from the start. He got a crushing attack.
Yep, and the most important thing is that you will promote with check. Otherwise, Queen H2 might be possible, but even King E2 is totally fine. Well, you cannot ask for a better start. Having said that, I think this is exactly how the last playoff matchup started. So now you gotta buckle down, chill out, and hold the fort. Also, this is day one. Let's not forget that this is not one-day elimination.
Right. And they're going to play another 3 games today. So
Technically, it could be two.
technically it could be 2. Yes. If there's a
could be 2.
decisive result, they'll play less. But they can play up to 4 games total. So this was the first one. Today is going to be super fun because we're going to be watching them play the entire day. So do you want to check out any of the other games?
Yeah, so I have the Nepo game. Nepo is...
Wow.
Yeah, he's beating Fabi, and it was a Petrov, which is the creme de la creme of Fabiano Caruana. And this is some line. I mean, I don't know the theory here. Wow, G4. Oh, wow.
I did not get to G4 just yet. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So Nepo is going crazy in a very suited fashion, pushing G4. Which move are you at right now?
I'm just slowly scrolling through. It's fun watching Jan's opening ideas. Especially for Rapid. He has these really nagging, tricky lines where the other side has to be like crazy precise. And he got into a 2 bishops endgame versus bishop knight, even for a moment down a pawn, but then he won it back on a7, and because Fabiano has to waste time not getting his bishop trapped, now he's just slowly putting in the work with the bishops. This is like the bishop pair right here. That's
Right. So here he's not up any material just yet, but he is cornering the black king to the point where now the black king only has the square he's on and G7 to go to. But then you have moves like bishop G8 threatening to win the bishop. And it looks like checkmate might be coming soon as well. So maybe Fabiano's best attempt is to try to block off the dark square diagonal with a move like knight e5. But I don't see him getting away with both of his minor pieces.
probably not. Yeah, the bishop pair from hell, as they call it. This is a nightmare. The bishop on b4 just stands completely unmatched. What a Nepo came inspired today. The most, what's it called? The most underrated 8th seed of all time. The 8th seed. Like, hello?
He got onto the 8th seed, and then he's playing here against the top seed. And just what a beautiful game against a line that Caruana knows so well.
So Fabi's going for an exchange sacrifice. This is just lost, probably. I mean, there's probably some way to just finish this. Maybe even something like h5, but rook d6 will do the trick. Bishop g6, king g6, rook e6 is a thing. Sorry, guys. A lot of stuff happening. First of all, shout out to VRML20 for the 25, I believe, gifted subs. Some brotherly love there. And I like how I'm being told that that's like, yeah, thanks guys. I had no idea. Wow. Oh, I didn't know. So shout out. And also I think Hikaru popped into the stream earlier and said not bad for a pro streamer. Not bad for a pro streamer after all. So that was good. I love watching those two play cuz it's always going to be some new opening and one guy's going to kind of have some wrinkle and then they're going to play chess. And it seems like they attack each other a lot. Like, Magnus attacks him when he's got white. Hikaru just went on a nice attack with white. There's a lot of attacking chess. It seems like it's less positional maneuvering. It's good chess. It's fun chess.
It definitely is. And I'm just scrolling through the other games to see what other results we have. So you're going to be really surprised, Levy. Are you ready?
Anish and Timur drew their game.
No, MVL and Wesley So. Wesley So, whose games we have not watched yet, got another draw.
Was it a competitive draw or was it just some theoretical draw? Like,
Well, they drew on move 45. Let's see what happened here.
all right, let's see. Indeed, knight d3. Meanwhile, in this game between Jan and Fabi, okay, I trust Jan to win this. I can take a quick look. It was a queen endgame in this game, and okay, it was a Berlin, but it was like the trendy non-draw line, but still a draw. So
Yep.
I'm gonna put on Nepo again. Now, I
Sounds
believe the format of the quarterfinals is not that they start their games at the top of every hour. But I don't know. I think they have 10-minute breaks in the series, but again, they changed that, so I would love to know what the heck what the plan is. So I don't know. Don't know what the plan is.
For the format.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I think the games were staggered, or it was just off with the relay when we started this morning. But if you want to take a break, Levy, you let me know.
No, we gotta wait for this to finish, and then we'll see. I think we're going to be.
Oh, and so wait,
15-minute
Anishkiri
break.
and Rajabo are still playing. They're about to draw. Okay, I think you took a look at that game as well.
Yep.
Got a knight versus a pawn. Not the most interesting end game out there, that's for sure. So I guess the Nepo and Caruana game is somewhat instructive. While it's probably obvious that Nepo is going to end up winning, you know, maybe for the more casual chess player, it's not so easy. You're only up an exchange here. But he does have those passed pawns, and the knights are very slow pieces, so it is very hard to hop around. The rook can really easily hold the b pawn from making any progress. The king can go gobble up the pawn on f4, and then with two passed pawns, it's just impossible. Even if the black king were to somehow get his king, say, to g7 right in front of them to block it, he's not going to be able to stop them. So that's why this is completely winning for Nepo.
Yeah, the G and H pawns will be the decide. Just don't sacrifice your rook for the knight for no reason. Yeah,
right.
If he doesn't.
Don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy. Okay. Somebody posted a very funny meme.
We got anonymous gifting subs now. Also, friendly reminder: it's a 3 channels. If you already pay Amazon every year to get your packages faster, they get a little nice blue check mark. You can link it to your Twitch, get a nice little blue crown, and you can click subscribe for free. It's like the easiest thing you'll do today. I'm just saying. So you could do that to any channel you want to support. You only get 1 per month though. So is this over? Caruana's resigned, so now we will put on the 160 move game that is still going on. Why is this still going on?
I feel okay. I actually saw a very funny meme. I'm gonna share it to you as well.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna send it to you on Discord. Our Reddit never fails to entertain.
I recently launched the subreddit, and it's been rough. I'm not gonna lie. There's a few resident memers that are pretty funny, and listen, the problem is that everybody can submit a meme, yeah. So everybody thinks that they're funny, and it's not okay. This is pretty funny.
Do you like this one?
Yes.
Yeah, this one's a little bit painful, but I think it was a good one. I think it was a good one.
I remember when I was young, I was like, I'm going to become an IM so that I can make a username IM something.
Right,
and,
right.
I ended up not making any sort of name pun or anything like that. But hey, listen, what do you mean show? Go to the Botas subreddit. This is like free advertising. Yeah, gotta go. It's there. Oh, show. go look. It takes you 2 seconds. We got no games now.
Yeah, exactly. My dad's up in here posting memes also. My dad loves posting memes. He gets all of his Reddit karma from posting memes.
That's wow. I don't want my father to discover Reddit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He said, tickle the position and your position might become laughable. Massage the position if you want to feel a good position. Very dad joke.
See, my I have like Russian family, right? And it seems the trend as you get older in the Russian Jewish community is that you progressively get more detached from reality. So, for example, you become very anti-vax, you become very anti-society. So,
oh no!
I just, you know, I need my family as far off the internet and like the access to those deep dark areas as possible, because then all of a sudden, my whole family's gonna think vaccines are microchips, and I'm sure.
I do have a family member who has gone off the deep end as well into that kind of stuff. QAnon, all the conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
conspiracy theories. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it.
If you're on Twitch, you're anti-society. Okay, that's a very I don't know how to unwrap that statement, but which game finished first? It was Wesley and MVL, right? So they would start first theoretically, but
right.
We could go on break and then we'll see when the next game resume or start. Yeah, I still gotta
sounds
finish
great.
my breakfast.
So I can run to the bathroom and you can finish your breakfast. Sounds good, Levy. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Chat, we'll see you guys soon. Levy, I'm gonna put another one of your instructional videos. Is that okay?
Oh, okay. That's yeah. Okay. Haha.
Or
yeah.
not. Or not.
I feel like we should do someone else today. Like, I don't know, put on an Anna Rudolph video.
I'll put Anna Rudolph. I guess it's because you're here, commentating. So this way people can even learn more from you on the break. I'm going to put her cheating at chess story because that was fascinating. We'll do that instead. All right. We'll be right back.
Here we go. It's round number 2. Let me just get all set up. I really like this format a lot more, that they just get going. Like they don't need to wait for the top of the hour. They don't need to show any promotional stuff. I wonder what today's mini video is going to be. Like every day they launch like a little, mini kind of clip of something.
Do they really?
Yeah, like I think yesterday they had, I think basically they just recorded a ton of behind the scenes footage of Magnus doing stuff.
Magnus is very good at those videos. I saw the one with David Howell where they were chucking pieces at each other. I thought it was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but like that stuff, on a serious note, is good for chess because it's fun. More people will watch it, which means if more people will watch it, there's more opportunities to advertise whatever. And it's good because you don't see any of the other guys doing that.
Right.
Like Jan, after winning the candidates, did this interview. I don't know if you watched it, but like it was an hour interview with I don't know the woman's name. She's a new FIDE journalist, I believe.
Okay.
But they just talked for an hour. That interview barely has any views like on YouTube. Like we gotta get these guys like interviewing, talking to. I think Jan will ultimately end up doing a big media tour, particularly in Russia. Yeah,
in Russia it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know about. I mean, I don't know if any of the like American or European newspapers are gonna reach out to him for interviews, but yeah, I think Magnus is gonna be responsible for that side of things. But I didn't know that Sergei Karyakin, after he challenged the World Championship in 2016, became like a media star.
Did he really?
Yeah.
In Russia?
Yeah, he's like apparently like to the point that like people in the deepest villages of Russia think he won the World Championship.
No way.
Yeah. Like this is what I've been told because, media there takes some time to get to those like forests. So they just live in their own little reality, and it's pretty funny.
That's actually hilarious. I know, I appreciate you sharing that. So what are your thoughts on the opening so far?
Very weird move on move 6. H3 is, I don't know what the hell H3 is actually. In fact, I'm going to go look up what the hell H3 is. That's just Magnus doing Magnus kind of things,
I mean, right. I mean, we see something like this in PogChamps, and it makes sense. It's one of those moves you teach people. You see it on a world champion, and you're like, okay, I need to take notes. What's going on? Where did he come with this?
Yeah, it's very rare that with white you commit your king so quickly and then you play h3. It's far more likely you play c3 to try to play b4 or d4, and that actually does end up happening. Magnus just does it immediately. And first of all, is the clock situation right? So
Well, Magnus has more time than he started.
okay, so that's accurate.
Yeah, if ours are synced, maybe they're good. I have 16:30 and 14:58.
Oh,
But the clocks are not ticking. So
mine shows 12 minutes for Hikaru, which would be mildly concerning. But okay, let's see where they left known territory. ED5, knight E7, knight C3. They're still following a game. I don't know if this is a live tournament game or if this... Okay, no. So knight E takes D5 and queen D2. And
this breaks from theory.
No, so knight takes D5 broke from theory.
Okay.
In the other game,
what was played instead?
I think it was knight F takes D5. Yeah, the F knight took. And this
Got
game,
it.
Hikaru takes like this. Now he's on his own. So...
Yep, so... For people who might be a little bit less familiar, Levy just looked at the databases. It's not of all games, but it's of all games that are in FIDE tournaments. And I'm guessing you're filtering them for master games. So this is the first time we've seen this position in the database, which is why it's exciting, because now we know they're for sure out of book. I guess technically it could still be some kind of home prep that just hasn't been played yet.
Actually, well, Magnus could technically still very much be in his book because he hasn't thought yet. It's only on Hikaru now, and the plan here I think is just to take on h6. So I think it's a big moment already for Hikaru. Like, does he take on e3, losing his center control, but at least getting rid of the potential sacrifice? Because for example, c6. Bishop h6, gh6, queen h6. Like, are you just getting mated? Like, what is going on?
I mean, I actually don't think I followed that correctly. Do you mind saying the moves one more time? Sorry about that.
Yeah, if Hikaru plays c6 in this position right now, and then Magnus just sacrifices on h6.
Oh, got it. I see what you're talking about. No, that actually looks very intimidating. But the square on h7 is defended. Are you thinking something like rook e5, rook g5?
Yeah. Well, rook e5, rook g5 wins, which you probably have to play knight h7. It's very common that you do this. And then if bishop to d3 attacking your knight, you have f5. You have queen f6 trying to trade the queen. Doesn't mean it's any less scary. It's a very scary position, so...
Yeah, that is very intimidating. So I probably would not want to deal with the sack on h6. Hikaru, a little bit braver. If he does want to avoid that, he just has to get rid of the bishop.
Yeah, I think he has no other choice. He could maybe go bishop e6 also, and that just gets another piece into the game rather than c6, which doesn't get another piece into the game.
Right.
Bishop e6 is nice, and then maybe bishop h6, you take on c3, and then you're... I don't know, it's complete chaos there. Well... Magnus dug into his bag of tricks.
Well, this is exactly what we were talking about. Magnus and Hikaru go at each other very aggressively when they have the white side of the pieces.
Yeah, this is opening heavy kind of games. Like a lot depends on the first 15 moves.
Right. And so I asked you this last time, and I'm going to ask you again. What side would you prefer to play this with?
White again.
So you like the aggressive plans generally?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Oh my gosh. I love chess.com chat. We got a 1400 given the world champion tips on to improve.
What did you say?
He said he already knows all patterns and tactics. The only thing he can improve on is accuracy. Magnus needs to focus on mating traps and tactics. You look
Is
triggered.
there anything else?
No, that's about it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
It's very cute though. They're very emotionally invested, you know? Just improve accuracy easy.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. Interesting. Hikaru thinks and just goes into this. Wow, so apparently bishop f5 is a losing move.
Oh
It's
no.
funny because the computer was showing that before bishop f5, there was a way to hold. Now I'm curious about something. Those of you that are using Sessi, before the move bishop f5 was played, what was the evaluation?
Who's Ceci?
You don't know what Sessi is?
No.
It's the browser-based website, which is like the really strong computer.
Oh, what is the URL?
It's just if you go, it's like SESSE, Sessi.
SESSE. Oh, okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, I'm gonna just
It
save that on the side.
it tracks Magnus's games, but if he's not playing, then it will. I mean, it's a browser-based computer, not a browser-based website. I apologize.
Got it. Got it. Oh, that is really cool. I'm gonna bookmark this. Thanks for sharing.
How the hell did? Okay. Anyway, before bishop f5, apparently it was holdable. So
Only with knight h7?
Yeah, yeah. Apparently only with knight h7. See, this is the thing. I had a feeling Hikaru was gonna do this. Why? Because he's already up a game. If you lose, okay, we just restart. It's tied. And also, Hikaru has made an effort to not shy away from going into the rabbit hole with Magnus. Like, okay, you want to sack a piece? Okay, great. Like, let's play. Let's play this position. The problem is that all of the audience has the luxury of knowing that bishop f5 is a losing move because right there it says plus 5.9. This is what Kasparov was talking about when he was talking to Hikaru some weeks ago. He's like, we never used to have this, you know? Back in the day, you would say, oh, bishop f5 is an interesting move. It's preventing bishop d3, rook e5, bishop g6, you're trying to shield your king. Now everyone in chat's like, well, it's very obvious, just rook e5, bishop g6, knight h4. How did Hikaru miss that? Oh my god, he's so stupid. Like, so now we have this this luxury of just knowing immediately when someone made a blunder. But I wonder what he was thinking after rook e5. Yeah, like bishop g6, knight h4. What's the idea?
So bishop g6. Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he did miss knight h4 because it looks like he's holding the important square of h5 and h7. But once that bishop goes, the position just starts to fall apart.
Maybe he thought, okay, so here's my hypothesis. Rook e5, bishop g6. Now, I mean, of course he saw knight h4, but maybe he thought bishop takes d4. And that attacks the rook and the knight on c3. But then there's like rook g5. And then maybe he thought
rook g5 apparently is not good. So, I mean, according to our Mr. Barr over here, who sometimes is confused.
Yeah, I'm trying to like visualize this in my head because he had to think about this before he went for it because he busted out bishop f5, right? So I would imagine that after bishop takes d4, the best move is knight takes g6, right?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, knight takes g6.
And then fg, because you don't want to lose. And then queen g6, and then king h8. And what's the best move there? Is it rook g5?
Ironically, even here, it's very complicated. King h8, and the bar goes back to 0-0. So it must be much more complicated than we're giving credit for. He does have some defensive techniques here, because after queen h8, you play bishop d3.
Oh, then he missed knight takes d5. Yeah, so the computer after fg6 is showing... So Hikaru must have seen all of this and calculated here, and he's fine, and he's right, and he's right. And this is what okay, that's funny, because I just said, but he missed that in this position, you don't take the pawn with check, you take the knight first. And why is this good? cd5, and then rook g5 is winning, because you don't... Why is it winning?
Knight takes d4? Wait, why do you have to take on d4 first?
On d5? Knight takes d5?
Yeah, knight takes d5.
Because black cannot play knight to e7 anymore in any position, so black cannot come back and defend. And also after rook g5, Well, that's a great question. What's the difference? What if you just play rook g5? Then I have knight h7, and you can't take on d5. That's the difference. So the difference is that you take on d5 first, force me to go knight h7, and then you come back for the pawn. Because you've deflected my knight away from the defense of d5, and now you're winning because you're threatening my queen and discover check. So that is what he missed.
That is what he missed,
He
which
missed-
is insane.
He missed the boomerang technique. You go there, you force the piece back, and then you go back for the jackpot on d5. And the problem is, it is much easier to attack in chess than defend. So,
Yep.
this is just a forced sequence of moves that wins the game for Magnus, and if he finds it, he finds it. If not, then... Yeah.
So rook e5. It's on Magnus now to find it. And does he have any other moves that would still win for him other than rook e5? Computer also really likes knight h4 as the other idea here that might give him some chances.
Yeah, of course, but okay, he plays rook e5. So now the question is, does Hikaru see that he's messed up, and will he play something like bishop all the way to c2 instead? But that just looks horrifying. We'll only know from the photo on the camera, or I mean, like, the video of Hikaru. Which
do you have the video of Hikaru?
No, I don't have the video, but obviously, they're showing Hikaru Magnus there, so they will very much be featuring both of their reactions. The problem is, this is not so hard, because the next few moves for Magnus are really natural, and all he has to do is c knight d5.
Yep.
And then he will...
Yeah. And it doesn't really make much difference to play bishop c2, because then you get g5 with check and you have to put your bishop back anyway. So it's not like he has options here. He can't defend his bishop with a move like queen d7, because then the knight is just going to pile up on that bishop on f5 with knight h4. So regardless, he is going to get the bishop off of f5, and the reason why that's important is because then his rook can come to g5 to check.
A lot of people are asking, did Magnus see the entire variation? Maybe, but at the end of the day, you don't have to, because the best move is rook e5 regardless. Worst comes to worst, it's a draw, Worst comes to worst, you just look at it and you go, okay, well, at least I see a draw, so maybe I have something better. This is what
maybe that 1400 was correct. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Magnus, it's just the mating patterns. He just needs to practice mating patterns.
Yes, he analyzed all his games, and he sees the weaknesses in Magnus's playing style.
I mean, 1400s with Ceci are pretty advanced nowadays.
Your average 800 is probably supercharged with the computer, but sometimes the computer gets deep in the position and reconsiders.
That's true. That's true.
You're like, oh.
I guess it is difficult. So, I'm curious how other people are doing this round. So, do we have any results yet in round 2? We don't, actually.
No, we don't. And I had to refresh because... Oh, whoa. What happened? Hold on a minute. Whoa. So we got bishop to g6, and Magnus didn't play knight h4 right away.
So, right.
He didn't go knight h4.
Rook
He
g5.
went rook g5 first, which means that he also missed it. Or maybe he only looked at this position and he said, I like it, and I have just long-term attack. He's still much better, his attack. But he doesn't know that. Guys, this is the difference. You see plus 2.5, you go, oh, Magnus is winning! He doesn't see that. He doesn't know he's plus 2.5. So, he also doesn't know that he could have won the game on the spot.
Right. He has his internal evaluation where he sees this position and he thinks he can win with it and he's comfortable. So it does make sense from his point of view, even if, as you were just pointing out, if he would have played, I mean, bishop g6, rook g5, knight h7, and I mean, what would you have played? What was the computer line after bishop g6? It was knight
h4.
Knight h4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is tough.
But, he might have seen the fact that if he takes on g6 with check and Hikaru gets to hide in the corner, then he's not winning. And he saw that, and he missed that instead of taking the pawn with check, he could have played knight takes d5, because if he saw that, he would have just played it. So instead, he was like, what's the next idea of my calculation? Rook g5, rook g4. Is this good? Yes. Okay, I play it. And that's... How you calculate, and then after the game, you're like, wow, I played so well. And then the computer goes 72%, moron. And you're like, what? And then it refutes your entire existence. But Magnus will play knight h4 on the next move, so that idea is not going anywhere.
Yeah. I imagine some people in people in chat are very funny sometimes about high level games. I do understand why you tease people.
Yeah, well, luckily Events has no live chat because I get brain cancer looking at and then like it's cured when I stop looking at it. It's really like a cyclical process. So, sometimes the live chat of any Hikaru game and any Magnus game is just absolutely fascinating. I'm very happy that the events page has no live chat. But, Alexandra, we are not safe from it. Our commentary gets gatekept also. If we ever find a move that's the best move, it's like, oh, they're so stupid. They're just reading the engine. And it's like, no one, you can't win. There's just no winning. So, it's a tough job, man. It's a very tough job, you know? Not as tough as being a surgeon, but...
You know, it also has its perks. We get to hang out and just watch high level chess, which is, pretty nice way to start the day off. So we'll keep that in mind as well.
Yes.
So rookie 8.
Knight h4.
Yeah, knight h4. I'm surprised he didn't try to get out of the check right away. I guess the problem with that would have been then you're getting into it. Sorry, the pin. Then you're pinning your knight to your king as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a massive struggle now for the safety of Hikaru's king. So Magnus will try to rip out this bishop defending. Hikaru is going to try to stabilize, maybe sack a pawn or two just to hide the king on h8. And Magnus can't lose all his pieces in this attack, because then I'm not so sure he can safely transfer to an endgame where he's still better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he did sacrifice a bishop for 2 pawns here. He's going to have to get some material back. Knight e5 and knight h4 look like really natural moves here, just putting pressure and continuing it onto the bishop on g6. I guess he has to keep deciding whether or not he wants to take the knight on d5 as well.
Also, MVL and Wesley made another quick draw. So that's good. So I'm just going to put Rajabov and Giri there.
Yeah, on the small board.
Yeah, and again, Ceci is just bursting out +7. Like, +7 is completely lost for
What?
So,
+7?
Yeah, it thinks that there is no defense for White's attack. And,
how strong is Ceci? Compared to other engines?
I don't know. Probably strong enough.
Strong enough? Like, stronger than, say, Stockfish at a high depth?
No. Stockfish is the strongest computer in the world right now.
Got it.
I think it beat Leela in the most recent TSEC.
Did it actually beat Leela? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it beat Leela. Ceci is Stockfish? So they just rebranded it? Wait, I'm so you can just name a computer and just use Stockfish?
Ceci is Stockfish. Ceci is the computer. Oh, so Ceci is the computer that's running Stockfish?
Oh, it's the hardware.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it's a supercomputer, basically.
Oh, it's the box itself, and then they load Stockfish into it. I see. So its processing power is strong. Aha.
Got it. Well, okay. Hey, I learned about this today. I know people in Hikaru's chat think I was memeing, but no, I haven't done commentary in a while, so I actually learned about it today, and that is super cool that we have this posted, available for anyone to see, regardless of their tech hardware situation at home. So this is awesome.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I learned something new today as well. I thought Ceci was just like, a bunch of brilliant dudes in Norway got together and they coded a separate computer totally. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. All right. Turns out that it's just a fancy rebrand. Okay, it's obviously not that. It's obviously hardware, which enables the computer to be stronger. Listen, I don't know how to code anything. The most complex thing I ever coded in my life was like a sentence and a color of a background. So
Well, that's okay. We do have Ceci saying knight takes d5 here as
that's
the main move.
and then CD5 and then bishop D3,
CD5, bishop d3,
knight
and
F8,
then knight f8.
and then knight G5.
Mine
Blocking.
says knight e5.
My computer doesn't even suggest knight E5. So knight E5.
Yeah, knight e5 in that sequence.
And then rook E6. And then
Yeah, and then apparently you take on g6. I mean, this I don't like computer lines. I don't like getting too deep into it because you get lost in the sauce.
You trade everything, and then you just calmly bring your rook to D1. Oh my god! So the computer wants you to trade everything and then just bring your rook, and black has no time to defend himself.
That's actually,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
easy, right? Easy.
Wait.
Just trade off everything when you're attacking.
And well, the problem is that Magnus played it, so
Knight takes d5, c takes d5, bishop d3. What if Ceci is actually just Magnus? No, I'm kidding.
Well, what if Magnus just saw through? Well, he hasn't played knight e5 yet.
That's true. That's true.
The last thing you're thinking about when you're attacking is to literally trade off every one of your pieces.
Right. It is so counterintuitive. You're trying to checkmate. You think you need them for support.
Maybe king h8 or something. Just let him take, and then, okay, he does play knight f8. Now, will Magnus play knight e5? I would imagine if Magnus just spent all this time that he will play knight e5.
If Magnus plays into that line with rook d1, I'm going to lose my mind. That would be so counterintuitive. I mean, the moves here, knight e5 or knight h4, do seem pretty intuitive. Knight e4, knight e5 much more because you're putting the knight in the center and putting pressure on the bishop. So it's the only thing that is hard to find is liquidating all the pieces on g6. Somebody said check Magnus for lip balm.
Yeah, when Magnus starts wearing lipstick, that's when we'll know something's up.
That's when he just he has the secret.
Yeah, he's gonna show up to these events with a nice hue of red on his mouth.
Just a stockfish. And for those of you who don't know the story, that's how Anna Rudolph was accused of cheating with lip balm, having a supercomputer in her lip balm.
Yeah,
so
some James Bond type of shit. It was like, yeah, she also had a pen that would shoot a sonar beam into her opponent's heart that would cause palpitations. I don't know, man. Like, I don't. Yeah.
Again, so wild that happened. So Magnus sitting here. Do you think he's considering anything else? Maybe taking on g6 with the bishop right away?
He might be.
And so just mixing up the order, putting knight e5 after.
Magnus he's spoiled for choice right now. A lot of
knight e5.
Hikaru could sack the rook for the knight. He's still in serious trouble, but at least you avoid getting that massive liquidation, and then you can play queen e7. So you could play rook e5 and queen e7. In fact, I would almost be willing to bet he would do that, because at this point, if you look at rook e6 and you realize that everything can get traded, and then rook d1, rook d3, rook f3 is winning, you don't play it, so you will probably take on e5.
Right.
We'll see.
Any other options? Can you try to just defend the bishop one more time with something like rook e6?
No, but then that line.
Oh, this is the line where you trade everything off.
He doesn't.
Right.
So he clearly doesn't. He doesn't believe. He doesn't believe in the attack.
Yeah. And so the move here is still knight takes g6. So this is what Ceci wants to see. As a human, you're also tempted to do things like h4, h5, because you're used to keeping all of your attacking pieces on the board and bringing more. But what do us humans know?
Oh, bishop f5. Okay, so what's the point of this? I mean, is this just like a little flex? Like, haha, you cannot take me. But then I'm gonna take on g6 on the next move anyway. Like rook f6, I'm just gonna take on g6 anyway.
Rook f6 and then take. I mean, okay, yeah, rook d6. Somebody said mouse slip question mark. Because now he can get into that very same line. Okay, by the way, my computer thinks Hikaru's better here. My evaluation bar says it's negative 0.38. And then you look at Ceci and it's like, it's plus 7.78, noob. Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, depth of computer is basically, it's like a 3-year-old versus a 25-year-old, you know? It's,
no, that my computer is very, very confused here. Even on Levy's, okay, my browser Stockfish is just not having a good day.
Well, it's funny, like, if you play h4, you get hit with bishop takes pawn and your entire attack is done. Like, this whole attack comes down to one move. But here's the thing. Okay, so we're gonna have this massive trade, right, on g6, and then, like, Hikaru will probably play king h8. And that's where it gets tricky, because Magnus has to find rook d1. Apparently, rook e1 is not winning, because bishop takes d4. So Magnus has to put his rook behind his pawn to defend it, and then d3, and then move over. That's where the tricky part of this attack comes in. He has taken, but now he has to find rook d1, rook d3 to maintain the defense of the center pawn.
Yeah, and I'm going to put that position on the board here one more time, since it looks like it might actually happen. Wow. This would be a very, very beautiful game.
Back to back. Some back-to-back clobberings by both of these guys. And there it is. The king has gone to the corner. Now probably you need to force the king back to the g file. So I would imagine we get a check. Queen h5 or queen h6. And there it is. So now king g7 or king g8. And will Magnus find rook d1, rook d3?
If he weren't going to go for it, would he at least have a perpetual? Because that kind of perpetual always makes you feel a little bit more comfortable going into a tactical line.
Yes, absolutely. So the general rule of thumb is that if you at least have a draw, just play it.
Yep.
Just play it. Okay, he keeps giving checks. Yeah, now it's tricky because, you know, the question is, do you want your king glued to the h-file while you might get ladder mated?
Right.
And, oh, you see why he gave checks? Because now d4 is defended.
So now he can just play rook e1 and he doesn't have to play the weird rook d1 maneuver.
Yeah, he zigzagged with the checks to defend the d4 pawn, and now rook e1, rook e5, rook h5 is game over. Yeah, and Hikaru is too slow here. He can't get his rook to the 7th rank because he would need, yeah.
Wow. That is...
It's not, this is not the most genius thing, trust me. Magnus has done much more brilliant things in his career.
He has, but it's still a very nice game, and it's a
Yes.
very clean miniature.
Yes.
Because you have the early sacrifice, you have the game going to be done before, say, move 35.
Yes. Yes.
So,
it's very nuanced, this little zigzag check, but it all comes down to whether or not this bishop can get back into the defense. Hikaru needs 3 moves to consolidate, and Magnus needs 2 moves to win. That's the problem. It's just important not to, you know, I don't want the audience to think that absolutely everything that happens, you know, should be like. It's very exciting, but Magnus, I feel like it takes away from the other brilliance of his career if we just say that giving 2 little checks with the queen is.
You mean his rise to fame is not knowing how to zigzag check? That's a little weird,
yeah,
Levy. I thought that was his contribution.
I feel like winning 100, not losing 125 games in a row is a little bit more impressive than, you know, a little zigzag check. But at the end of the day, this is also nice. Yeah, rook e6 is the final killing move because now queen g6 and back rank. And I think Hikaru will probably play 1 more move and maybe resign, or 2 more moves and resign. Hey, it's 1-1. Both sides play with a win with the white pieces. So this is everything we want, man. If we can get 4 decisive results today, that's exciting stuff.
Oh, for sure. These games have been very fun to watch. Even the game that they played yesterday that was ending in a draw was very exciting to see. And Magnus also came at him with the attack. So They're going at each other's throats.
Yeah, this is awesome. I hope this doesn't slow down. The thing is that now it's really hard to adjust for the next game. You don't really know what you want to do. Like, if you're gonna come out and launch an attack, there's a chance that you overextend with white.
Right.
So you have to be careful. You know how to do this. What do you guys want? You guys want Nepo on the bottom board?
Nepo, Caruana. Let's see how they're doing.
Oh my God, Fabiano is in a very good. I mean, he is absolutely dominating. He is
Getting some revenge for the previous game, that's for sure. What the heck is going on with the pawns on the A file? That is very funny looking pawns over there. But he is going to win one of them. And if he ends up winning the second one as well, then he just has a pass pawn, even if they're doubled.
I have just put... Oh, Hikaru has resigned. So Magnus has won officially, which means that we will put Timur and Anish on the bottom board. And we will analyze... this position. Yeah, I don't know how this happened. So Nepo played the French. Well, that's why he's losing. I mean...
Wow. Mean, Levy, mean.
Listen, I had my experimental phase of life when I tried to play the French, and I realized that my entire life I had been playing the Caro Kann, and it's just a better French. So, Jan, little risky here, a little risky in the opening, and that French bishop dancing around, but he's I don't think it's over. It's never over with Jan. It's never over. So he's gonna play bishop d3, bishop e4, maybe rook f8. Maybe he'll win this game. It's never over.
You can't count him out. And also, Fabiano only has 3 minutes on the clock. So if anyone is going to get into time pressure, it might be him.
Oh, of course it's going to be him. You think Jan's going to get into time, Trevor?
No, Jan never gets in time pressure. Jan has enough time to spare to lend out, to other teammates in the tournament.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be all right. He's going to play bishop d3, bishop e4. Yeah, Hikaru's going to have to review that line. He's going to have to take a look at that opening. And also, this has happened a few times now where Magnus gets some big attack, I think, from a sacrificial opening sideline. And at some point, you got to just start believing the guy. Like, you know what? He's been sacrificing a lot of pieces to launch an attack, so let me just not let him do that. Let me not let him have fun.
Question, did his weird h3 move help him in that sacrifice? Or was it just a random move that we still don't understand?
I think it just steers the game into a different direction. And by the way, some dust has settled. Fabiano did not find the best way forward. And even though Jan Nepomniachtchi has been giving his opponent rook odds for 35 moves, he's still in an equal position. Nepo hasn't moved his rook at all in 35 moves. He's just straight up
left it on a8.
Yep. And he can't move it because he'll lose a7, so...
Right, so he's just going to be stuck there for a little bit. But there's no way to defend a7 after a move like rook b7. So why is he not just going to grab that pawn?
I guess rook g4, rook a4. The black rook will come to a4. You will lose a2. And the thing is that when a rook is guarding a pawn from behind the pawn, it's really difficult for the other rook to get out of the way. So yeah, we're gonna get rook e5 probably. Rook a7. Okay, this first. So now rook e5 and rook a5. It's gonna be a draw. Which means I should probably put these guys on the small board just for now.
And we can take a look at Giri Rajabov.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So what was the result of their first game?
A draw, 160 moves.
Oh yes, we remember that. The pawn and the knight endgame. So what's going on here? Both sides have bishop pairs, same amount of pieces. They both have single pawns on the queen side. Anish Giri's light squared bishop is worse placed than Rajabov's, and his knight is also a little bit more passive. So on top of that, Rajabov also has the open file. So Rajabov does seem slightly better here, but he has to be a little careful to see if he can actually hold this advantage.
Yeah, actually, it's a great point. The bishop's just stuck. I wonder what Anish thought he had here. Maybe he thought he had e5? Because if not e5, I don't really know what else you're gonna play.
Right. E5. Let's take a look at that. So E5, taking the bishop is pretty tempting here to just gobble it. That seems like the most testing line. E takes D4. Now you can't recapture because your bishop is hanging, but your bishop and your rook are pointing towards the A6 pawn. And even in this situation, if you just protect your pawn on E3, you end up with a bishop pair, which does seem much better for the white side of the pieces.
Yeah, this looks really nice for white. It's going to be very difficult to defend this position. I wonder, hey, can someone let me know what was the cap score for Magnus that game? Hikaru played at 99.7 in the first game.
Oh wow.
I want to know. I think I would be willing to bet Magnus probably played about like 98 probably. I don't know if it was also
Wow.
because again the machine's gonna complain that he could have like done the whole knight h4 thing, but I think it's very high level chess in that matchup so far. Yeah, of course not 100. Come on, nobody's perfect.
You live and you learn it. Did you ever watch Hannah Montana, Levy?
No, I you know, as a kid, there's certain stereotypes associated with certain shows, so I never watched it because I was already bad enough. I was a chess-playing small kid who watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if I also added Hannah Montana to that, I mean, I was already crucified from a social standpoint, so let's...
You didn't want to put the nail in the coffin there.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I played chess, I liked Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I liked MapleStory. Like, it was... Dude, I mean, the fact that I even showed up to school is a miracle. So...
You show up in your Hannah Montana hoodie with a little backpack. That may have been going too far.
I don't know why it went from me watching the show to having the merch, but
I just feel like you are the kind of kid who would have had merch for the shows you like.
I was Yugi for Halloween in 3rd grade, yes. But we're not gonna talk about that. Those were... I peaked in those days, and now it's been downhill ever since. So yeah, Timur's got a pawn up. He's also got bishop for knight. This is very, very hard to defend. But
right. So I'm guessing what he's gonna try to do is bring his knight over to d7, put it on b6. The knights are the best blockading pieces of past pawns. That being said, he's going to be stuck in a passive position, but at least if he gets his knight on b6 and his rook on b8 on dark squares, the only way white will be able to kick that knight out is if he can bring his king over to, say, a5, which is a long journey, but definitely doable for white.
Yep, and here we go. f4, now time to bring the king. It's the endgame. The king moves on from being very beta and passive to getting all activated. Let's go. King f1, king e2, king d2, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Timur?
the kings are racing, but the black king is going to be cut off from the c file, so he's not going to be able to come too close to the b5 pawn.
Timur.
You just like saying his name? Is it a fun tongue twister? Can you say his full name 5 times fast?
Timur Rajabov, Timur Rajabov, Timur
Faster.
Rajabov, Timur. That's not a tongue twister. What?
You know, you have to say, but you weren't going fast enough.
I think there's more complex names in the world of chess, you know?
Yeah, but we don't want to make it too hard.
Say Yan Nepomniachtchi 5 times fast.
Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi, Yan Nepomniachtchi.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of terrifying. I don't want to challenge you to that again. All right. That was way... what the hell? When's the diss track coming out?
Yeah,
oh my god.
No, I didn't really pronounce it properly, but I did try to go with the speed. Did you see the Mr. Beast video where he said PewDiePie, PewDiePie, PewDiePie? I think it was 100,000 times for like 12 hours.
Yeah, I did watch some of his like earlier day challenges, and it's kind of admirable, I must say. Some of the stuff that he did. Like this guy, he did some wild stuff.
He really did. I watched some of those videos. I was like, this is insane. He was just there for so long, repeating it over and over. I don't know how he didn't go insane.
He was in like a chamber. He did the solitary confinement. I mean, he got buried alive some weeks ago. By the way, guys, don't take the knight. You take the knight, the king just wins your pawn, and then actually,
Yep.
Yeah, if your king was closer, you might have some chances, but
Right, because this way, even if you get to the point where your king's on b6 and you end up winning the pawn on b5, then Timur is just going to march his king up to the king side pawns and be able to win some of them. So it's the classic old principle of two weaknesses going on here.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, Rajaba very deliberately traded a bunch of pieces. And okay, by the way, Caruana Nepo is officially a draw. I really MVL is they're gonna start their third game soon. Oh, they're like, look at,
Have they already drawn it?
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like a Berlin. It's moved 20 of game 3 between Wesley and MVL. Like, does MVL have somewhere to be?
Okay, this is more common of Wesley than of MVL, though. He's been the one who's been finishing these games pretty quickly with draws. Maybe they're just trying to see, maybe they're playing memory games to see if they both remember theory. And if they do, they just, draw it out.
That is true. Wesley is probably happier to make some short games. Conserve his energy, hang out in his massive house with his very adorable cat, and just live life. Man just lives life, plays online chess, wins tournaments. He's won 2 of these events. He's also qualified for the finals. So
whatever he's doing is working.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conservation of energy strat. It makes sense from an individual perspective. It's just less fun to commentate on, of course.
I just got accused of having a problem with MVL. Okay, I don't. Did I say something, Alexandra? Sometimes I don't know. I like make jokes and I did.
I think he heard you when you dissed the French. I think that's what happened. I think you need to take back everything you said about the French. We looked at Nepo's game. You're like, it's because he played the French. MVL doesn't play it, but he was just offended. And just admit it. Just admit it.
Oh, because I said, oh, yeah, right. Nah, the French sucks, dude. Like, I'm not taking that back. Alexandra, you still play the French?
I do. So now you have beef with me and MVL.
I mean, you know what? I can't even save it. The French is just trash. I don't know why you just wouldn't move your C pawn. Like, what?
Let's not get heated here.
Like, have you considered playing the Caro-Kann?
I've actually played the Caro-Kann before, and then I went back to the French.
Why?
Levy hangs up the Zoom call. Is this an intervention?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like everyone makes fun of you, but no one tries to help you. So I'm gonna try to help. Why? Like, talk to me. Like, why did you go back?
Yeah, and I will say Magnus also told me to stop playing the French. Everybody has told me to stop playing the French. It doesn't matter who it comes from.
But here's the thing. Everyone wants to say don't play the French, but no one wants to say why do you play the French, right? So what is it about the French? Does it smell nice?
The reason why I still play the French now is because it takes quite a bit of time to learn opening theory. So switching openings is, a big commitment. So I don't want to go too deep into lines because sometimes playing lines that are even somewhat worse is better than playing lines you don't know.
That perfectly reasonable. There you go. Having said that, you could probably learn the Caro in about 15 minutes. It's not that
There's some lines that are tricky, and I keep falling for like e6 pushes or some of the more complicated lines when white brings out the queen on the queen side. There were some tactical ones when I was trying to play the Caro-Kann online that I did have trouble with, and then I looked into, and they were actually very long lines. So the theory there it can be quite intense.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I will gift you my Caro-Kann course for free, and then it's totally in the ball is in your court. You could study it. People have died. Like, we have had mosh pits to get their hands for free on it. You're also feel free to decline it, but
no, I was actually considering trying to learn my openings. And I was either going to take Hammer's E5 course or your Karokan course. So that's actually a very good offer.
Let's put it this way. If you have hope on the horizon of becoming a grandmaster, then you need to learn E4, E5. And that's what Hikaru said. He's like, yo, you're never going to become GM unless you learn E4, E5. And I don't care. I'm not going to learn E4, E5. I refuse. I don't want to play E4, E5. Now, I don't know how you feel about E4, E5, but why would you copy your opponent? Like,
I just have never played E4 or E5, and I've never learned theory for it. And sometimes when you're learning something that is very new, it makes learning much more fun. And you feel like it adds to your repertoire understanding when you go from something positional like the French to something more tactical like a lot of the E5 lines.
I have had many of these sit downs with myself, and I said, you're going to learn E4, E5. You're going to study the Italian, the Rui. I've never done it.
I mean, that's the thing. Because I played the Karokan before and because I play the French and it's less theoretical, it feels like less work, but also less excitement.
The problem with E4, E5, it seems, is that if your opponent isn't out to play a main line and instead plays like the 4 knights, the game is over. You legitimately have no chance. I mean, it's not quite true, but you have to take some serious risk. If they're gonna play like, you see how Hikaru and Magnus are doing it? They're playing all these like lines against each other, then there's hope. But the problem is that if a person wants to just bore you to death in E4, E5, they have very legitimate ways. If they play the King's Gambit, then whew.
So you would genuinely recommend just looking at the Karokan instead of the E4, E5.
Everybody's different, but if you learn...
Yeah, mainline Karokan is also extremely boring. I remember I used to have so many games in it. It does remind me of the Exchange French. Have you found anything against mainline Karokan?
You mean Knight C3?
There's just this one.
Like E4, C6, D4, D5, what's the next move?
Yeah, Knight C3.
Yeah, so Knight C3 is really annoying. So the mainline, the classical Karokan is just a draw. But
right,
and there you have to go to like move 15, 16 to find some idea. I just play the Tartic Hour, so I just take on E4, Knight F6, double my pawns, but then there's like a lot of really fun attacking ideas. Like I would be willing to bet if you learn the Caro, you would be winning like 60% of your games in Blitz with it. So like 70% of your games. Because people who are not titled, they
don't know how to play.
They don't know how to play against the card. Like they don't know the
I mean, people
way.
who are not titled don't know how to play openings in general. You know, that's why I've gotten so far with the French too.
Well, the French is, memes aside, is obviously not bad. I mean, hey, Nepo didn't lose that game, so it's not that bad. But yeah, sorry guys, no one knows how to play openings until you become Grandmaster. Just no one.
No, it is really hard to play openings. No, but it's true. And also, we're still watching the Rajabov Giri game. Rajabov is still going to win, and this is very much how we predicted. He used his pawn on b5 as bait, and he's going to go gobble up the queenside pawns. This is actually a good endgame, if you're not familiar with it, to practice either against a friend or against a computer, because it really teaches you some of endgame essentials and how to win when you have one advantage.
Oh my god, Knight H1 is such an insane move. I don't know what the optimal way of playing here. I guess a lot of people have... Oh, Hikaru and Magnus are playing already.
Whoa.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's another...
Let's hop into it then.
It's an anti-Berlin. It's a Rui Lopez. Wow, Hikaru is like really... Okay, one sec, guys. Hikaru is really, really... I mean, this is like... I think we're already in the 2% of theory. Here, let me just go check the database. So, we got a Berlin offering from Magnus. Hikaru plays the anti-Berlin with d3. Bishop c5, and normally Hikaru takes here, but he plays castles and knight c3, which... Castles is played very... Wait, whoa. Castles, d6... Knight c3 has only been seen in like 30 games ever.
This looks like such a normal position. How can that be the case?
Well, because in these structures, it's like c3 is the way to go. You don't not advance your pawns in the center of the board. But I think he's gonna go for bishop g5. I think this is his idea. I played like this against Greg in the I Am Not a GM, and that was a nice game. I took revenge for you. I beat him up. I
Thanks,
didn't really
Levy.
beat him up.
I appreciate it. He really got me bad in our match. Although I was starting to come back in the bullet, but then it was over.
Yeah, he goes knight a4 Hikaru to try to take on c5. This is another common idea. Yeah, that got revenge is probably putting it kind of in an exaggerated way, considering he was outplaying me in the blitz. But so I've been instructed to let you all know about a major sponsor of our event.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Poly Market. It's an information markets platform. It's built on blockchain. It is the future. That's not part of their sponsor plug. That's me just telling you. You guys should look at it because there's different markets for different things going on during the event. So now that we're in the playoffs and the knockout, there's going to be different types of contests, or markets as they call them. So I don't know which specific ones just yet because I have way too many windows open. But for example, there were some things of the daily. There's round-based stuff, and you can go put your money where your mouth is. If you enjoy the little stuff that we do in terms of like the points betting, you might enjoy that as well. But there's cash involved. And you want to go play around, go feel free to do that. You can type the code Hikaru and win $20 to trade for free. You literally just have to type Hikaru, and you get $20 free. So, not in Twitch chat. That's normally what people do. Oh, Alexandra muted herself.
Hi, Levy.
What? Wait, was I... When you mute yourself, do I talk over you on your stream?
No, I just no, you don't talk over me.
Oh, because if you just
because I could just mute all of the audio and then talk to chat.
Ah, okay, yeah. I was gonna say like that would be. Okay, got it. Yes, guys. Sometimes when you want to speak just to your chat, what you do is you mute yourself, and then all of Twitch chat writes muted because they think that there's a technical problem.
When really you're just, hey, let me thank my chat or talk to my chat for a second. Yeah, exactly. No, we're good, guys. We're good.
Yes. Also, say hi to the homepage of Twitch. I believe I think we're on there. So shout out to Twitch. You're watching chess. If you thought
You're watching Magnus and Hikaru, the best players at this format. So if you're ever gonna watch chess, now is the time.
Yeah, you're quite literally watching the two best in the world at this format go at it, and some other dudes, you know, they aight, but
they're also very good, best in the world, but not, you know, number one and number two.
Yeah, they're not, you know, they're not these dudes. They're those dudes. Just for the memes, I want to go check in on round 3. Wesley's actually much better with the black pieces. He's got the bishop pair. It's the Berlin Wall, but also he toppled it over into MVL's territory.
Let me open up that game as well.
No, I'm just looking who to put on the small board. I think I'll put them on the small board for now. Okay, this game will not have an attack. So, this game is gonna just have Hikaru trying to outplay Magnus with the bishop pair. And a slightly better pawn structure. Right.
Which, you know, is fair. You have to go for these games. We've had quite a bit of excitement from Magnus and Hikaru already. I guess this is also an interesting position because we have all of the pawns on the board. At what point do you consider going for some kind of pawn break, say taking on e5 or maybe pushing d5, c6?
I would first begin with a3, actually. I mean, I don't know if this is... I just don't want my a2 pawn to be weak. I just want to play a2 to a3 so that, like, there's nothing there, and then I'll figure it out. But... yeah, that's a very tough decision. Oh, well, this is Magnus. This is Magnus baiting the hell out of d5. Like, I mean, d5, bishop d7, the problem is the pawn can't go back to where it was, so...
Right. You're right. You're right. This reminds me of when I run up to my sister in poker. Like, I'm baiting a reaction from her because I know it'll make things more interesting. So we're gonna see if he has self-restraint or not. I mean, it's not like D5 is a bad move, but it's very committal. It changes the structure.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know if Hikaru has any choice. Because if he doesn't play D5, Magnus himself can play D5, which I think is his idea.
True. D5. But why would Magnus want to open up the position? Because he's not the one with the two bishops.
Yeah, but I think he's more active in the position right now. So, for example, if D5 now, ED5, you can take with the queen. There's a checkmate threat. There's a chance Hikaru doesn't see it. I think it's quite unlikely, but you know, you never know when you can sneak one by. And if you don't take on D5, then you take on E5. Well, there's rook E5 to put pressure. Actually, knight E5, there might be F4, and then E5, and this is bad. So, So I like knight D2, not committing. He doesn't want to commit. Maybe he's gonna go F3 also, knight F1, route the knight back, come around to the center.
Very, very slow ideas here. But it does make a lot of sense. You're trying to create a very solid center here. He's keeping the tension. So maybe we can leave this game on the small board and see if there's any games that have a little more fight to them.
I don't think there's any other game that's actually going on. I mean, I guess there's the... Have they started the other games? Oh, they haven't just started the other games. Look at the position between Nepo and Caruana. Like, some dude is in a fork and there's two queens hanging.
There we go. There we go. This is what we're looking for. What opening? Okay, this came out of a Sicilian.
Had to have been, yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is fun. Equal material, but there's a little bit of a fork coming on. And the funny thing is that Caruana can't actually take the queen necessarily. I mean, he can't get it for free because the queen is hanging on C7. So he pushes F3 to push away the knight, and Caruana does decide to go for the queen trade. But now, isn't he going to lose the pawn on D4?
This looks like prep. Look at their time.
17 and 16. Wow.
Yeah, yep. Now we're going to get rook D4, knight F5, rook E4, take, like H6, and I think it's just a draw. I think we're going to get an opposite colored bishop endgame where one side is up a pawn and it's just a draw. Also, rook E1 is a mate threat once you take the bishop, so you have to play rook E4.
I love how he came to a moment that seemed super exciting, only to realize they've been blitzing out theory and they're probably going to end up with a draw.
Yeah. Well, Fabiano has the Taimanov Sicilian in his repertoire, and so does Nepo. Nepo has been playing it as of late. So it's interesting that they go for this. I've never seen this in my life, but okay, I see. Interesting. So yeah, wow, they are still playing at light speed.
Right. I mean, I wonder if it feels like they've both been fighting. They've been going pretty deep into the end game. So I don't know if they're going to settle for a draw. And it makes sense that, you know, Nepo's trying to get into his best form for the world championship. So maybe we'll see something exciting. They're both behind in development here, and Nepo has some very weird looking pawns, but also much more space.
He played King C7 so fast. I mean, it looks like he knows what he's doing. Now Machine wants A4, which makes a lot of sense because you
just machine.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I like F4. I like putting all my pawns to work together over here, but A4 is natural. If takes, then bishop takes A6. You know, bishop comes back. You can also bring the rook from H4 to C4, which looks good. I think Nepo's playing this. Definitely Nepo's playing this for a win. And
yeah. Well, yeah, I would like to see A4, and A4 is not a hard move to find either. I know he said machine, but this is a really common idea, and he plays it. Jinx, I guess not a jinx, because what happened made sense. Aww. Levy, every now and then you have the honest viewer who says, me, a 700, pretending to understand I am analysis of a GM game. Hey, you're doing well, Water Cup. Half the time 700s come in here and they say comments like, I'm better rated than both of you.
Someone said that in my chat?
No, somebody said that I'm better rated than both of you earlier today, but somebody said the 700 pretending in my chat, which is kind of cute.
Ah, well, listen, let's not. We might understand a little bit more, know a little where some of the openings came from, or something like that. But at the end of the day, we're all just here to smile and wave. So
Exactly, because the level that these players are at is very different, and it is really fun to watch them do the work. And then, we can explain the main ideas, but it's entertaining regardless. So everybody's welcome here. And honestly, it's always really motivating to hear that there's players who are new and they're just here to watch some good old chess. So shout out to you guys, and thanks for being here.
yes, shout out to you. Thank you for your awesome support. Also, shout out to your jobs for allowing you to watch Twitch chess rather than get things done. Isn't remote work the best?
Wow, Levy, don't call people out like that. You're exposing some people.
My favorite is like, yo, can you stop uploading YouTube videos, bro? I gotta study for finals. I'm like, hey, listen,
Sorry, man.
yeah, it's not my fault. You gotta put it on in the background. Okay, here comes AB5 in the Nepo game. Is Magnus actually still thinking? What is going on?
I just tried to refresh as well, and I haven't seen a game yet, a move yet. And I checked with our friend Cece too, Sese, and no move yet. It shows that Magnus has 7 minutes and a half.
I think he's deciding whether to shred open the position. Meanwhile, Jan is he's just a pawn up. He's isolated a weakness on b5. This is a dreadful position. I would not be surprised if this is lost in any computer matchup. This game Nepo versus Fabiano.
Mm-hmm.
It's just okay. You're down a pawn, and White has no weaknesses. So
right. And then the pawn on g5. If you ever have a move like bishop d3, you're putting pressure on h7. You're baiting the pawn into moving, and you can fix your pawn structure. You're way more active. The king on c7 is kind of awkwardly placed.
yeah, it's very uncomfortable position for Black.
It's uncomfortable, but still, it would be a grind for Nepo to get a win here. These are actually. Do you think playing out positions like this, say you were training, would actually help your positional understanding or your endgame to say practice against somebody your level with the white side of the pieces? Because I know you're very experienced in coaching.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but no one does that. Like, no one. We study our openings, we do our tactics. Very few people set up training positions and then play through them and analyze their mistakes or decision making. Like, no one does that. You're supposed to do that, same way you're supposed to train in any sport from certain situations. You don't start from the beginning or only focus on the end. You got to start from a designated, situation and then work your way out of it. But no one does that. I mean, I'll have you done that in your training? I've done very little of that. Yeah, Danya does that. Yeah, okay, but Daniel's one of the strongest grandmasters. Period. So.
No, I actually used to focus more on end games or openings. There was a point where I was studying middle game strategy, but I mean, I'm not studying now. If I were, I'd probably do a little bit of this too because it's more fun. I hate opening theory. That's probably why.
So
how do you like opening theory? How do you get yourself to actually enjoy studying openings?
I like to not think in the first 10 moves. I mean,
that's fair. You do the work beforehand and then you just enjoy it when you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super hard. I mean, the hardest part is obviously just memorizing the stuff, but I like to get to unique positions that I know better than my opponent, and then the secret is it's not even about the memorization of the moves. It's like you need to know what games have happened in those positions. So, for example, like these guys are like, oh, this is this guy versus this guy from this year, and then these guys have thousands of games in their mental tank, so
yeah,
it makes chess a lot easier. That's honestly a lot of it. Like I made my norms off of opening prep, like getting to positions where I was more comfortable than my opponent.
Right.
And then
yeah, when you have really good preparation and especially specific preparation for an opponent, it helps you improve a lot.
And like you said earlier, the more openings you study, the more it helps you with different positions and pawn structures and That's why I always get.
And speaking of pawn structures, Magnus actually did go for the big break. He played
Yep.
d5.
Yep. Here there's a really scumbag computer move. Not the craziest move in the world to see, but pretty.
After d5 or in the current position?
No, in the current position you can play f4, and black can't take because knight takes knight. Bishop attacks your knight on f4. f4 is crazy.
And then knight takes h3 looks a little annoying to deal with because you're going to recapture, but I guess you just end up being down a piece, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The alternative is knight f3, which looks more human, but obviously Hikaru sees the move f4, which just we'll see if he actually plays it.
Right. f4. So f4, if Magnus decides not to take the pawn on f4, then he just has f5 looming over his head at some point. Probably not, though, because he wants to protect the pawn on e5, but he could always play f4 and then just knight f3. And then he's protecting the pawn on f4, his knight can hop to d4, and it looks quite comfortable.
Yeah, if the knight gets to d4, that's nice. And then also if you take on c6, you mess up the structure a little bit. It's either going to be knight f3 or f4. You can't take on e4, because if you take on e4, you trade, queens are off. Black is pretty happy.
Right.
If f4, can the black knight take en passant? That's a great question. Let's try it.
Nope. Yeah, like, can the knight just go a little crazy and pasta at knight f3?
It's a good question.
Somebody in my chat asked, do you think boards like this ever happen accidentally at lower levels? Well, you usually deviate very quickly from games that have been played before. I don't know what it would be for the average new player, but for grandmasters, let's say it's around move 16 or so, where they get a completely new position. So usually no, but you can have, and also beginners usually never play the right move. So probably the answer is no. What do you think, Levy?
That's a big problem with beginner games, is that they'll watch YouTube videos and then they'll go play the openings, and you won't get what's in the video. Like, you might, but a lot of chess is figuring it out on your own as well. There's just simply too much variance. And so you can even buy an opening course, and on move 4, your opponent plays a bad move, but then you need to find out why it's bad. And it might only be bad because of one move. Like, everything else is good for your opponent, and one move is winning for you. That still means the move is bad, but if you don't find it, then the move is really strong. So chess is just a hard game, but at least Hikaru played f4. So
f4. Okay, that is exciting. He sat and he found it. And now the question is, what is the best continuation for Magnus? Because knight takes f4 looks very good for white. Queen h4 looks a little bit intimidating. What do you think about it?
Queen h4 scary, yeah.
I just don't like, playing when the queens get too close to my king.
Yeah, then there's like rook f1, probably you have to play. If you play knight f3, the queen gets closer, and then there's no way to kick it out.
Right. Queen g3 or queen f2, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't even... Yeah, queen f2 is probably worse, I'm not gonna lie.
Queen f2 looks a little scarier with the knight hopping onto g3.
Probably you have to play rook f1 to prevent the queen from coming, and also to kind of defend the f4 pawn.
Right. And then, the attack is kind of halted, but there's still, because of f4, there are going to be holes in white's kingside position. So while Hikaru is still solid here, it is something he's going to have to be careful with. And then the other thing is, when you have extended pawns like e5 and f4, you also have to be careful about your opponent challenging them, say with moves like f6 and trying to create a break. Because then if you don't have the strong center and the position opens up, all of a sudden you realize that your king is weaker.
Yeah, it's good. It's not going to be easy. It's not okay. Magnus decides to put his knight on h4, which is also perfectly reasonable. He's got some long-term pressure on g2. Mr. Wesley So defeated MVL. So I guess I will put on... Yeah, he won with black. That's
impressive. I mean, that's the thing I like about Wesley. He does do a lot of draws and he conserves his energy. But in the positions where he gets any kind of advantage, he is so good at capitalizing on it.
Yeah, Wesley's like, we can complain, but
Yeah.
this dude knows how to move the pieces to the squares. Like, he's
Yes. He's a professional pawn pusher. Sorry,
yeah,
wood pusher, I think is the word.
he's pretty damn good at the game. I mean, think about it. He's made 12 short draws and has slapped 6 people. He's like
Yep.
won 6 games. He hasn't lost. Yeah.
Wait, what is his streak right now? How long has it been since he's lost a game?
In this tournament or overall?
Overall.
He probably lost in the last tournament, but
Did he lose in the last one? Okay.
I have no idea.
Got it.
Because he didn't win the last tournament, which means that he lost in the last tournament. So,
Yeah.
I don't remember. He lost to Magnus. Okay, so who did he lose to? He lost to Levon. Oh, there you go. He lost to Levon. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, so he got a really nice middle game position actually. Even though it was really weird and he had to bring his king all the way to the queen side of the board, his bishop pair was just too strong and he ended up being able to stop all of white's pawn advancements. And I think he ended up winning some of the pawns at the end. Yeah, okay, that's what happened.
Hikaru's going for a big trade, and he'll put his bishop on e3 and rook on d1, and he will be very slightly better with his bishop pair, Magnus's potential pawn weaknesses. Good position, very low risk. In fact, there's probably negative risk. Like, you cannot lose this with white. So it will either be a draw or Hikaru will win unless he blunders something horrific, which also is very difficult, considering none of black's pieces really can do anything. Like, the best thing that black can do is play knight f5 and then trade the knight for the bishop on e3. So, yeah, this is a good position. Low risk positions are nice.
Yeah, for sure. That being said, though, low risk can also often lead to a draw. So, what do you think Hikaru's chances for winning this are?
Like 25% and probably 75% draw.
Okay, and what do you think would be the most testing kind of plan here?
For white? Okay, so probably we have to think Magnus will play knight f5 and f6. Those are... He'll get rid of this pawn in the center. I think you should be open to trading on f6, because if you let him take, you just lose the pawn. So let's say you take on f6 when that happens. You have to play king f2, and you have to play g4, and you have to play a3, and you have to play rook d1, and bishop b3. I'm just drawing these arrows.
I got you.
Probably what will happen is you'll need to find a way to win the pawn on e4, or use this bishop's really passive position on c6, and put the bishop on b3 on the diagonal, rook on d1, trade one rook. Don't trade both. Trade one rook. Oh my god, he just played g5. Okay, that was really... I mean, I don't think he had to play g5. Why did he not play f6?
Wow.
So his point is that if you take on g5, rook e5, right? And like that's...
yeah, you're able to get this pawn, and then after g takes h6, you're probably going to win h6 because you can get rid of the bishop, which is defending. King takes e3, and then, you know, you could attack it with your king or your rook, whatever you want. You're going to grab the pawn back. And then you're down a pawn, but you've traded off bishop pair, and then g2 might end up being a little bit weak.
One important thing about why you have to play king f2, I saw somebody, once again, as usual, accuse me of just reading the engine. I can read, but king f2 is so that if knight takes bishop, you take with the king, because in the endgame, you have to find a way to activate your king. If you were to take with the rook in that position instead of king f2, then the black rook would come to d2, and if the king is on e3, you prevent rook d2. So, I understand it's, you know, you want to hate watch, but at the same time, you have to use your brain at least 5% of the broadcast. So king takes on e3 to prevent the rook from coming to d2. Hikaru's doing everything right, but the question is, where is his winning chance?
Right, and that's what we were trying to look at before. Wow, he takes with his king. His king is super active here, which is, as you mentioned, what you want for the endgame, and he's now ganging up to win that e4 pawn. So the difficulty, though, is even if he wins the e4 pawn, his pawn on e5 might still end up pinned if his king is on e4, and he might still end up losing it back.
Wait, did my thing not update? I see. He took on e3,
Mhm.
so they traded, and then his king walked out. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
really good. This is like, yeah, very nice. Very nice. This is perfect. His king has
Hmm.
walked to f4. You see, guys, you need to activate your king. However, not in queen endgames. Don't activate your queen don't activate your king in queen endgames. This is gonna be very bad.
Right. Your king can only come out when it's safe. But a king valuation is actually supposed to be around 4 points in between a minor piece and a pawn. I know a lot of us are taught that it's worth 0 points. This is what Grandmaster Yasser taught me. And basically, that's why you really want to activate it towards the end of the game. It can make all of the difference. Just imagine you're playing with a piece that's in between the value of a bishop and a rook.
So here we have e3. This is Magnus's attempt at activating the bishop. It's actually not activated because he can't take g2 because rook g1. But also Hikaru has no easy way to take this. For example, if he plays rook takes e3, you still have rook g3 if the bishop ever comes to g2. Rook takes, bishop takes is not terrible, but then Magnus's idea is that I guess he's going to play rook d8. And then he's going to play rook d2, and you can't stop that because your bishop's hanging.
Yeah.
Maybe you play bishop f3. Maybe Hikaru goes for this. Maybe, and says, look, Magnus, you're a pretty good endgame player, but you're down a pawn. You see, now the computer wants rook d4 with this age-old concept of if you have rooks facing each other, move your rook up and trade it in an advantageous way so that you at least connect your center pawns.
Right.
That would be
And then
very
if your
nice.
rook isn't traded, you can often double up and
Yep.
force the trade.
Yep. Ceci, I guarantee Ceci wants rook d3 or rook d4. It does not want to take the pawn unless see, this is the active way of defending. This is the, I don't know, maybe you go back 5 years before Alpha Zero, Magnus still plays e3, but this is what those supercomputers taught us. Even
Interesting
in the endgame.
enough, actually, Ceci gives rook d4 at plus 1.98 and rook takes e3 at plus 1.82. So very, very close. Yeah. And rook d3 1.7. So it's basically saying that all of these moves are winning, which makes me feel like they'd maybe transpose into each other. But on a human level, rook takes e3 feels way too weird.
Well, if you play rook d4,
and now it likes rook takes e3.
So it's just basically calling. It's just saying call the bluff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just play bishop f3 after rook d1.
Well, let's see. I mean, there you go. But still, this is annoying. I mean, the thing is, maybe it's plus 2.3, but only because 7 moves down the line you have something.
Right.
And
I'm sure there's some tactic with rook d2 not being as strong as we originally thought of it.
Okay, well now people are saying rook d4 is plus 3. So it says not so fast. Not so fast. Don't make your bishop go back to d1. So it likes rook d4. Yeah, rook d4 is a very natural move. Hikaru is more than capable of playing this move. It's also more than capable of playing rook d3. But between the two, rook d4 is definitely better.
Yeah, and rook d4 just looks so much more intuitive as well. But then again, if anybody's able to find very hard, unintuitive moves, it's, Hikaru and Magnus. So.
Yeah, this is you don't need to rush. The e-pawn will not go anywhere, and bishop takes g2 is not possible because rook g1. So then you will play g4, rook e3. That g5 move was so provocative.
Yeah.
I don't think he needed to do that. I rattled off all these plans, and then Magnus played a move I didn't even expect, so now you have to change all of your plans to adapt to g5, and it looks like g5 wasn't the way to go, because the king was able to march out, and but it's interesting, they had 2 games of just belligerent attacks, and now they have this endgame. So Hikaru putting the pressure
Oh, wow. I see 2 minutes for Magnus. What do you see on the time?
Yeah, 5. So I see 2 minutes for Magnus and 5 for Hikaru.
Okay, I see 9 for Hikaru, but regardless, Magnus starting to get into time pressure. What would you give the chances of Hikaru winning this now? So I think you said 25 before. Obviously, it's getting better.
I said he plays rook d4. I said 25 before g5. Once g5, it's like 50-50. I mean, it's like his chances of winning. Again, the only way Hikaru will lose this game is with a terrible blunder, because he has this. Magnus has no way of creating counterplay without just completely destroying his position. So as long as you keep adding the pressure, you keep pressuring on the clock. Yeah, chat. I know it's an inside joke, but like about the whole jinxing thing. But at the end of the day, you like white cannot go wrong here unless white straight up just hangs a bishop somehow, or I don't know. Like and If that happens, that sucks. But also, it helps that is Hikaru up 9-2 on the clock? Actually,
Okay, now I see 6-2, which is still very helpful.
what's the time? 6-2, you said?
5:48 and 1:46. So yes,
Got it.
about 6-2 or so.
6-2, yeah, it's not bad. It's a good height too.
Yeah, so I guess to reverse the question, Magnus would be happy to get a draw in this current position.
Hell yeah.
What are his best chances to hold a draw here?
I got no clue.
All right, Levy, throwing it back to you.
Bro,
You're Magnus. How do you try to hold a draw against Hikaru? No big deal.
I straight up have no idea how Magnus is supposed to defend this. I am so much happier playing this for a win because I just know you play A3, bye-bye weaknesses. Bye-bye, no more weaknesses. Like, I don't know. I mean, look at the computer suggestion. King F8.
King F8.
Oh my god.
Bishop D5. B4. Just a lot of crazy suggestions here.
B4. Wait, does Ceci have B4 as a? Oh, he's played it. Oh, he's sacking a pawn to go Rook D2. So now that's the counterplay. There it is. Yep. What's the best move here, people who are watching Ceci? What's the best move after B4? Rook B4, Rook D2. What is it? Some way of holding probably.
Let me try to look.
Rook B4, Rook D2, and
Bishop
then what?
E4. Bishop E4.
Oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, just trade the bishop, right? And then win B7, wins. Hey, he doesn't play it. You see? This is where, okay, it's +3, but you gotta find it. You gotta find it. I know why Hikaru did that. He didn't want to give Magnus any counterplay. And he wants to keep the pressure on the clock. But
he is giving a bit of counterplay now because what you kept saying is push A3, get rid of your weakness. And now A2 is a weakness and C3 might also become one later on.
Yeah, because now Rook A8 is possible. So there you go. See, like it's this active counterplay. You gotta be like, nah, B4 is a stupid move, dude. Rook takes, you know, you're getting desperate. But he didn't. He just played G4, and still, he's gonna win the E3 pawn. But I don't. Why is it +0.6? I don't think it was because of that. Bishop B3 now, Rook E3. No, white is still much better. Definitely, white is much better. You see, chat. You know, oh, it's +0.6. Oh, it's +3 again. It's like watching the crypto price.
Yeah, okay? You can't. You know the ticker doesn't mean much. Don't look at the quick fluctuations. Okay, so
King takes C3. Yep.
He's just grabbing the pawn now. His king is more active. He's up a full pawn. It's still a king and rook endgame. So, you know, those are tricky and there's a lot of draw chances, but there's so many pawns that it's not what you think of as a rook and king endgame versus rook and king. It's much more complicated. Yeah.
Also, that move G5 is again gonna haunt Magnus because he has F and H weaknesses. If his pawns were together, this would be very different. And by the way, game one, what did we see? E and D. We saw E and D together, and they're together again, and you're gonna push them, and one of them is gonna become a passed pawn. And the best case scenario is Hikaru has a rook and a pawn on the 7th rank, because then Magnus will have to take the pawn, trade the rook, and lose the king and pawn endgame, which might happen. Hikaru might also just play like rook A1, rook A7, and try to infiltrate. But it's his game to win. It's his game to win.
Right.
+7.3. Wow.
Okay, that is insane. That is giving +7. Oh my gosh, almost. It's almost as much as a queen. That is insane.
That's just a fancy way of saying it's over. Just resign. I'm bored. But
yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a resignation right away. How long do you think they're gonna continue playing on here?
A while. Well, it's for humans. It's definitely not over.
Of course.
The problem is Ceci gives us a warped perception of reality.
Yeah, Ceci is insane. Maybe we could take a peek at some of the other games. Do you see anything interesting? We saw Wesley won. Caruana, Nepo.
They're doing their thing. I haven't seen Anish and Timur. This was also Berlin or like some sort of exchange.
Yeah, it was this Berlin. Does look like a Berlin. Okay, this I mean I've seen Hikaru play the Berlin quite a bit. That's about all of the Berlin I've really looked at. it's always a really weird opening to come to, because you get into an endgame, but there's so many pawns left in their initial position that it feels so strange.
I turned down my AC because it was causing some static. Yeah, I don't know why they all volunteer to go into Berlin, but they do, and I guess it's easy to play. You've seen it 100 times. You don't really need to think about anything.
Fair enough. So the Nepo Caruana game is maybe a little bit more interesting because Nepo is up a pawn. It's a pass pawn. He's 2 squares away from promoting. F7 looks like a very solid move because then he's never going to be able to kick off his pawn from F7 because there's opposite colored bishops. It's good that the rooks are still on the board. Otherwise, Caruana would be able to draw this. Do you think he can, do you think Nepo can push for a win here?
Give me a sec. I wanted to keep this game because I think they're gonna fire off some moves.
Okay, I'll come back then to the Hikaru Magnus game.
Yeah, well, I just briefly pulled this up. Yeah, Nepo definitely has some winning chances, but it's not great that his pawn can't really go to f8 successfully. Like it's being very well protected. Might be a draw. Might be a draw. Might end up being rook and bishop versus rook, and then it's well, you can win rook and bishop versus rook, and grandmasters have lost it, but it's a draw. But he might lose it.
So then I guess so. Nepo needs to bring his king into play for sure. And then on top of that, if he could somehow help his pawn on f8, that would be very helpful. But with the dark squared bishop, it's going to be very difficult. Yeah, this is going to be very, very tricky. And Fabiano is actually not in time pressure this time, so he's not going to be able to rely on the clock situation helping him out this time.
So chat saying that Hikaru played h4, which was what? That's not what it's not what the machine liked. Yeah, is that what people are saying? Any eval in this endgame above 3 is still winning. If it goes to like plus 1.5, then it's probably a draw.
Are you talking about Ceci or your local stockfish?
Everything. It's plus 9. It's plus 9. Okay, well then it knows something we don't. Why is it plus 9? What is the plan here?
Plus 9?
You gotta go to c4, right? You gotta put the king on c4. I don't see any other way forward.
Okay. So then maybe we could try to explain what the plan here should be for white. It seems like if you could get your king over to protect the pawn on b4 and free your rook, maybe Hikaru can go for something like rook f1. But even then,
I kind of don't understand why he didn't play king g5, but I don't know. No, I mean I think Hikaru has to. There's gotta be a way you can sack the b pawn to activate the rook. But at the same time, you can also put the king on c4 and then move the rook, 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 and win the game. So that's one of the game plans.
I mean, it feels like if your king was on c4 and your rook was on f6, you basically have black in a very difficult situation where he doesn't have a lot of good moves, and even something like rook d6 trading off. But okay, he instead goes for the plan with king f5. I'm sure there's a lot of
rook d1. Oh, he's gonna go g5. That's his plan. He just probably wants g5 outside h pawn. Chat, nothing I can do about the clock. Refreshing won't help. Watch.
He can't go g5 right away. He doesn't want to lose d4, so he probably just wants to defend it first. If he put his king on his f5, maybe he doesn't want to retreat, so he can play rook d1 or king e4 if he changes his mind. No, nothing would make sense for him to give up this pawn right away.
Goes back to e4. So he goes back. Back to e4. He's a little tentative. He doesn't want to play g5 right away. By the way, g5 even now, despite losing a pawn, king f5, you just win it back immediately. He's got to will himself. Okay, so he's going for this plan to put the king on c4. He wasn't so sure if pushing g5 was the way to go.
But he's able to test it out. You know, moves aren't repeating. But I do like this plan. I think it's much more straightforward. You're basically protecting your two weak pawns. Of course, the G pawn you have to be careful as well. And now he can finally bring his rook into the game.
Yeah, I don't know if taking on f6 is actually winning. I mean, the computer's so scummy. It wants rook f2, or see, it wanted this idea, but rook f2 first to make black take and then go back to e2. Rook f2, fe5, then rook e2. Because now Magnus doesn't have to take, apparently. He can play rook d5. And then king e6. And black wants white to take the pawn, not the other way around.
Right.
Which is just... yeah. I don't know.
A weird goblin has appeared in the background, but it's okay. The threat is gone now. Okay. I got distracted for a second from the little sister.
Here's the thing. Everybody's saying plus 11. Y'all would lose this with white or with black. Like I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean it in a tough love way. Stop looking at the computer. You got rook and 5, rook and 4. Where's the breakthrough? Plus 11, people. Let's go. How you gonna win this? Oh, it's plus 11. So what? I can also read numbers. How are you winning this? Taking on f6?
Yeah. Plus 11 is a crazy evaluation. It makes you feel like it's a puzzle rush where you're going to win a queen in like 2 moves or something. That is just a very tough way to understand this.
No, we shouldn't insult the like 0.5% of the audience who's like 2,000 plus. Y'all would win it. Y'all would win or draw it. You wouldn't lose it with white. But are you supposed to take on f6? I don't know. What's the plan after that? Hey, can we take on f6 and play rook e5, rook e5, d e5, king e5, king c5, king f4, king b6, king g4, king b7, king h5, king c6, king g5, b5, h5, b6, h4, b7, h3? Yes, we can. We can take and play rook e5. Is that the winning idea?
Wait, rook e5?
Yeah, so take, rook e5, take, king c5, king f4, king b6, king g4, king b7, king h5, king c6, and then we just run our pawns.
Right, and then you win the pawn race.
I don't know. I'm just saying, is that the winning idea? Like I don't know. That's Ceci's line? Yes!
There you go, Levy. There you go.
Yes! Rook e5! Let's go! Rook e5. That's all he has to calculate. He just has to realize that it's winning.
Yep. Another very instructive endgame, actually. I'm going to take a screenshot of this one as well.
Yes! Rook e5 on the board. Magnus not going to take because he knows how to calculate. He's going to move his rook back. So now the rook... yeah. That was like a 20-move calculation. It looks impressive, but it's not because everything was forced. It's all forced. You just have to count the squares in your head. But that's why endgame calculations are good, because they're actually in some ways easier than middle game calculations. Because the plan is very simple. My king run for b7, your king run for my pawns. So it's very caveman-like.
And you only have to calculate one very trying line most of the time. Whereas in middle games, you can't go that deep because there's so many possible deviations.
By the way, b5 was very tricky. King c3 is a draw. And king c3 might even lose the game. King d3 to come toward the center was correct. Okay.
Yep. It makes sense. Magnus has no reason why he'd trade off rooks. That's the kind of endgame Magnus would understand right away. So he is trying to keep it as complicated as possible.
Rook e5 again. Yeah, and now rook d6, d5. Boom. Game over. Rook d5. Just push the pawn. Because again, rook trade is always winning. You could also play rook f5 and probably go to the back rank, which Hikaru might do.
Right. And then if everything is traded on d5, then the white king is going to get the b pawn, and his pawn is going to promote before the h pawn.
Now,
but he does still have to calculate that and test it. Magnus knows again right away, so he just keeps his rook on the board. He's trying to keep the pressure for as long as possible, and that's exactly what he should be doing. You always want to fight on.
Rook b8 played. Now, very nice check. Yeah, this is super important. And now rook g6. Yep. And now you just wait. Exactly. You just wait. You'll take this pawn at some point, and then you'll come back for b. Yeah, that's it. It's. I mean, even g5 is winning. You could also play g5.
G5 take with check. Yeah, and then you're going to be up 2 pawns at some point because you'll win the pawn on b5 as well.
Yep.
And if the rooks are ever traded.
Yeah, king's too far. You're never saving this. King is way too far. And he's resigned, and Hikaru wins.
Wow. So the score is 2-1. Wow.
Yep. There you go. That was sick. Rook e5 was that was a nice move. That was a nice move. And
Yeah. Man.
Damn!
So it did feel like Magnus was the one who pushed this game a little bit in the opening when he went for bishop c6 and d5. And then he just ended up getting a slightly worse opening position again. And then Hikaru played it incredibly well. He did not give him any chances to slip up. No counterplay, no chances to slip up. Very, very nice game.
G5 was a G5 was a Nepo move. You know? I feel like F6 was a Magnus move, but G5 was very and I thought after F6 we would get like take G4. I guess Magnus just saw this position, was like, you know what, I'm just clearly worse here. So why would I do this when I can play G5? Another big pop off with the 25 gifted. Hikaru got to keep winning. Keeps getting 25 gifted subs when that happens. It's a good winning formula. So how long was this calculation that Hikaru had to see?
Are we going? Wait. Which move are you at so I can be on the same one?
45. Like when he took on F6.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then here, yeah, you make a queen and he can't. That's the problem. It's one square short. So, yeah, you gotta. Very nice. It's a very nice calculation. Rook e5 is very important. I think it's the only winning move in that position. So, nice find.
Yeah, that's the one I saved for using it as a nice little endgame study.
That was nice. Very nice game. Not much else to say. What else is going on?
Nepo, Caruana are still going at it. Nepo still trying to push for a win. I can't tell if he's made progress or if Black's made progress now that his king is on c5.
I'm gonna go take a look. I think Anish and Timur are gonna draw this game. Hikaru predicted that one was gonna go to the blitz. So.
Okay, so I'll take a look at the Giri Rajabov as well.
Let me see those big frogs in the chat. We celebrate by going.
What are the big frogs in your chat? What is this emote about?
I don't know. It's a rolling frog. What? Don't ask questions.
It's just a rolling frog, nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's just random, dude. I love how I asked that, and one person's like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch." Oh man.
What?
No, there's just one comment. It's okay.
Who said that?
Okay. So it's fine. It's fine. There's always that one person. There's always that one person. But I do like the little rolling frogs. It's a very cute emote. It's a very cute emote.
I'll find them. Or maybe chat went too fast.
No, don't. I was trying to check out the rolling frogs, and that guy got really offended that I asked about the emote. It's okay. It's okay.
I found him. Oh, he getting tagged now. See, this is we have mutual public shaming. So we have see, the chat knows. The chat is like, it's like, imagine you're at like a fun get together, fun party, and there's like a really like loud person yelling, making a fool out of themselves. It's kind of like that, and then the community comes together like, that person looks really stupid right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's okay. Okay, cool. So scores so far: 2-1 Hikaru Carlson. Giri Rajabov still 1-1. So was able to get a really nice win. And then Nepo is leading against Caruana, and he has been playing slightly better. And again, here it's going to end up being a draw, but he was the only one who had winning chances. Okay.
Yeah, Wesley. Oh, yeah. Oh, Wesley's just completely winning.
Is he winning again?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
Is he on his fourth game?
Yeah, they're gonna finish their fourth game before Nepo and Caruana begin their third game.
Wow. Okay, so what is going on here? You said he's completely winning. I just got in here. Oh, I guess the B pawn is hanging and then the D pawn, right?
Yeah, B5 is a problem. Also, Knight C6. The queen's trapped, I think, somehow. Like, how do you defend the queen? I'm gonna play Knight C6, Bishop F4, Bishop E3.
Bishop before bishop. Yeah, I guess you have to play queen b6 and then retreat, but then I mean, there's some chances to run away with your queen. So I'm gonna put it on the board. Knight c6.
Rook b7.
Bishop b7. Maybe just try to trade off.
Yeah, but then you lose your rook. Which, yeah, I mean, bishop b7 is what computer wants. It's like, just okay, take my rook.
I mean, better than trapping the queen or playing queen b6 and trying to run away. And also, where's your rook? Yeah, rook b7. It just, you look like you're dying a slow death. But I guess that might even be the best attempt here.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, knight c6 is definitely the best move. I would imagine that Wesley plays it. Nepo lost? Nah, y'all bugging. Stop. No, he didn't.
No way he lost that. Dude, it's impossible for him to lose this game. People are trolling.
That's not even like a good troll. I mean, there was just zero chance that he was ever going to lose that
Yeah,
game,
exactly. Unless he somehow mouse slipped. But even if he mouse slipped, no, if he mouse slipped the bishop for free, I guess he could technically lose. If we want to get that excited. All right, so
knight c6 has been played. Oh,
wow, tough day in the office for MBL. Wesley,
Hikaru called it yesterday. He said Wesley was a clear favorite in this match.
Yeah, no, he did. He did say that was the only one where there's probably a clear favorite. But still 3-1 is a very good score. So
yes,
I guess he's coming in and he's performing as expected. So the last game between Hikaru and Magnus is going to start very soon. Magnus needs a win to tie. He is going to have the white side of the pieces. So I'm guessing we're going to see something very exciting, which is always a treat for the last game between them.
I'm just happy that today, like, everything moves faster when we get to the knockout stage, and they're just going and they're playing their games. Like, it's not 5 hours of a show. It might be a lot less than that. It might be like 3.5. So, I think that's the most fun for me. There's always games on. If you need to go for a break or anything like that, I can carry that. I gotta turn up the AC though. I'm sorry if the static is gonna come
I just
back,
have to go pee. I will do that very quickly. Sorry, go to the bathroom. That's the more polite way to say it.
Oh yeah. Well, I say go to the bathroom because I go. I don't actually need to use the facilities. I just like to look in the mirror and say nice things to myself. Cause
yeah, do you do self affirmations?
Yeah. I got like my ego is the size of like
GM. You will be a GM.
No.
You will beat Eric Rosen.
Well, that I don't need to tell myself, but no, you gotta. Everybody should do that. Spend like 10 minutes just in front of the mirror, just hyping yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So I'm just gonna run to the bathroom. Do you need a break as well, or are you gonna hold down the?
I got it. This will be over soon. So.
Okay, I'll be back.
How are we, chats? Plural. Hold on, I'm gonna open up all three. How we doing? You guys good? Every chat's got a different vibe. I get called a lot of mean things by some of the folks in Hikaru. You know, it's funny, sometimes like some of the people I've banned are in the GMHikaru chat, which is really funny. Boats has live. We don't have that much overlap. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Some of you might have come to chess through a different avenue. Welcome. My chat, y'all just chilling. I appreciate you. Every chat's a little bit different. People in Hikaru's chat will be like, yo, can you unban me from your chat? I'll be like, nope. You was banned for a reason. You are from India. How do you Twitch Prime? You don't. You don't have it. Also, you won't have Twitter and Facebook anymore, apparently. That's what's going on in, crazy. Can I unbutton my shirt for one more button? Can you go to your nearest sink and drink some water, please? Thank you. No, I'm serious. Like I was talking with an Indian GM on Twitter, and he's like, "Yo, here's add me on WhatsApp because I might not be able to message you on Twitter anymore." I'm like, "What?" I saw. Yeah, that's apparently what's happening. This shirt is from All Saints. Not a sponsored stream, but really like their clothes. But the best shirts I ever wore, Joe Bananas. Australian brand, a little bit pricey, but if you want to splurge on like a nice shirt, shout out to Joe Bananas. They don't pay me to do their ads, but they're really nice. That's my secret, gentleman from the Botez live chat, who said, "Why is he always salty?" That's the secret. It's that cutting edge, deep salt mine sense of humor. The secret is like the Hulk. You know when the Hulk says, "I'm always angry," and then turns into the Hulk? I'm always salty. MVL is in serious trouble. His queen is just dead. It has no moves. Even if he plays b4, he gets absolutely clapped with this gangster move, Rook a5. Wait, what happened? Some moves got played? Is b4 on the board, or is that just my interface doing some stupid stuff? Oh no. What the hell is going on? Queen a1? Wait. Oh, he sacked the exchange. Yeah, I don't know who coded this page, but I'm gonna have to say some mean things to them. Like, how did none of that happened? Everything that I was just showing on the screen was incorrect. Okay, anyway. How often do I shave my face? This like probably a touch up like once a week. The sides, like, bro, like once every 3 days, man. It's really bad. But I know people who probably have to do it like once every 6 hours. Shout out to my Armenians. You know, y'all, I don't know. So you shave by the time you like, by the end of the workday, you got a full beard again. I don't know. It's, I don't know how you guys do that. Do I work out? Do I look like I work out? let's not, I'm glad all my weight gathers below the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, not up here. I got a little, a little bit. Come on, bro. Do I work out? Like, you're funny. Next time you do a comedy show, invite me. No, see, all of the weight.
Why do I come back to Levy got a dump truck?
Someone asked if I work out. No. I just, you know, I'm going to start, because you know what they say. You say you need to be in good physical shape to play at the top level turn. You know, at your best over the board form. So, I'm planning to start. I guess not tomorrow because we have the charity stream tomorrow. But it's hard. Like there's days I want to run in the morning. There's days I want to run in the afternoon. There's days I want to run in the evening. You ever had this problem? Like, you don't know when you.
Is it about consistency that is hard? Because.
Well, when do you go on your runs? When do you have the most energy?
I usually go right after streaming because I want to get some kind of break, and I need to exercise too. So that way, like, my brain is tired and I switch to physical effort. And then when I come back, I feel a little bit reinvigorated because you get the blood pumping. So I'll probably go right when this commentary is done for like an hour.
See, that's what I want to do. But at the end of the broadcast, all I want to do is just lay in bed. And it's really difficult to force myself to go running.
I actually have that too. So sometimes I just trick my brain and I say I'm going to go on a walk. And then I start off the walk. I'm like, okay, this is nice. Maybe I'll jog a little bit. And then you build up, you know?
Like, I got to start tricking my brain more.
You got to start tricking your brain. I'm actually not kidding though. Exercising consistently has been probably one of the biggest positive influences on my life this year. It makes all the difference in the world for your mood and for your energy and how you feel. And then when you find something you like and you can do it consistently, even if it's something easy like going for walks, at least you start getting the habit in there. You told me to switch to the Caro, and I'm telling you to exercise.
All right.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay. I'm inspired. After the show's over. Well, actually, no, because then there will be recap filming. After that's done, I'm gonna go outside.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're gonna see some news report. New York-based streamer hit by bus just in critical condition in hospital.
I remember there was Hassan had a tweet like that. He said it was the first day he went outside. He ended up locking himself out for like 3 hours with no phone and no shoes or something.
How does his door auto lock behind him?
I don't know. I just remember the tweet.
Oh. Yeah,
but
yeah, I gotta like
in the world.
I gotta bring my key to lock my door, so I don't think I will be doing that. Unless I lose my keys, yeah, then I'd be pretty screwed.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. And for those of you asking, the Magnus match hasn't started yet.
He just played E4.
Okay. They just played E4, E5. There you go. We're back. We're back. All right.
Yeah, let me pull that up. It's game 4. It's been a bloody affair. Magnus goes back to the same line.
In H3. All right.
Yep. He plays H3. Hikaru brings out D5. This looks very similar to Carlsen Nakamura, May 25th, 2021, as well as Svidler Nakamura, May 25th, 2021.
Right. And do you think this is an interesting decision for a must-win situation? But again, it's similar to the position that he was able to pull off before, but that is also because Hikaru let him get that attack.
Yeah, I don't know what the logic is of picking the openings, or I don't know, going for some solid positions. Kind of interesting. Like, okay, Magnus has played knight G5. I don't know why the clock is doing this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't control it. You know, not our fault. So knight G5, he can reposition his knight onto E4 if he wants to. Very solid play so far. He's going to kick the bishop from C5. If he does want to create winning chances, I wonder if he could go for moving his king out of the way of the bishop pin and then going for F4 at some point and just trying to open up the F file.
I think that's Magnus's plan. I'm sort of... Is Hikaru actually thinking here? Or is there just some lag? Okay, no, he's actually thinking. But knight G5 is such a natural move. So what happened here?
You know what else CC does better than us? It shows the time accurately, I think.
Yeah.
And it shows 16 to 14.
Oh, well, it's showing that Hikaru might have needed to play H6 first.
Before bishop E6?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's suggesting that you don't want to let the knight get into E4 with this maneuver.
Yeah.
Because I guess you get it with tempo as well after bishop E6. Whereas if you had H6 and the knight wanted to get to E4, something like knight D2, E4 doesn't do it with tempo and it's quite passive. But this way, you're helping him out.
Yeah.
But again, not that big of a deal.
I was really tempted to say yeah again just to buy into chat's memes. I don't... What just happened, dude? Like, one move in the opening, he had to play H6 to not allow knight G5. Did he just like... Did he play bishop E6 and forget about knight G5? Because now Magnus is just... He's cruising. This is a... He's got C3, knight D2. It just seems like everything is so scattered. Knight F7 is... I'm perplexed. Is it the fire alarm again going off or something? Imagine.
Oh, you mean for Hikaru? Are you suggesting that he played this move because his fire alarm went off and he got annoyed?
People were saying...
that is not the only explanation.
People were saying that he was shaking his head like a lot, even when he was winning. I don't think you shake your head when you win the game, but if...
Oh. Well, you know, hopefully he's okay.
Oh, he's at the TSM facility. Okay, then listen, I wasn't the one that said it. That guy said it. He's like, so why is he shaking his head? Are people barging into the room? Hey, Hikaru! Hi!
Like, why does Hikaru have a Syria flag? Wait. Okay, I will say I understand that chess.com bugs out, But where are these flags coming from?
Jeez, my man playing in Syria. No wonder he can't focus.
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, he's in a freaking war zone right now. He's shaking his head.
Oh my god. All right. So he plays H6. Apparently, no, Magnus
No,
doesn't.
it's not intentional, you guys. He's not making a political statement. It's real. I don't understand where this bug is coming.
Guys, I'm trying to play my games. Like, please.
No, it's still Syria. Okay.
It's on yeah, it's VPN. I don't know, because whoever loads the games in, ultimately, there's a little code for the flag, so I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's at the TSM facility. He's able to go back there and play from there now because folks are vaccinated. Wesley has won. Wesley wins 3-1 versus MVL.
Okay, so that was very good performance by him. He was the favorite, but he still performed very well. And
Timur and Wesley are in their 4th game. I'll put on Caruana. Caruana's in a must-win situation with the white pieces, so that will be actually pretty exciting.
Yep.
Yep. And there you go. And now we wait.
All right. So, coming back to the Magnus game, B4 looks really tempting to just roll the pawns, but it does also kind of take away from his idea of trying to create some kind of kingside attack. G4 is too crazy, right? G4 and G5. I mean, Magnus is playing these Nepo moves, so.
What? Is that a computer move?
No, it's not. It's just me having fun.
G4. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's going to be playing. Yeah, he goes B4.
I just wanted to see a little, blood. But yeah. Okay, look, I understand B4 is the move that makes sense, but it is always fun when you're trying to go for a kingside attack to push the pawns like this with tempo, get on G5, move the king over. But his pieces are too underdeveloped, and he's in a must-win situation. He doesn't want to go that crazy.
It's always tempting for black to play a5 in this position, but a5 is a really bad move because b5, you take the bishop on d6, put the bishop on a3, and then you win. So Hikaru will not be playing a5. Instead, Hikaru plays a6, knight d2, and now king h8. Let's go for this king h8 plan. Move the bishop f5. We were here before. Let's do it. Let's go.
Move the bishop. Sorry, say that again.
King h8.
Okay, king h8. You're getting. Oh yeah, because he always wants to get out of that little pin. And then move the bishop, push the pawn. Yep.
I just realized that whoever does the emotes for Hikaru just uploaded
Why is sheesh so trendy now?
I don't ask. I don't know. I only recently realized just how popular it was. I don't know. I don't really say it, but it's fun to watch other people say it. I think people are cooler than me, so they say it and I just laugh. Do you watch any TikToks at all?
I try not to. I try to stay away from the rabbit hole that is TikTok, because then I just
above the app, like what?
No. If anything, I like it, and it's super fun when I get on it. Usually, like 2 a.m., not able to sleep, and like, fuck it, let's watch TikTok. And then I look at the clock, it's 4 a.m. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I feel like I need to middle part my hair, and everything is just making no sense. And I'm just so confused. I can't do it. It's too much cultural shock for me.
Yeah, I always gotta set like little alarms for myself when I'm on TikTok, because they hide the clock from you, so you can't see how long you've been on the app. So yeah, the on TikTok you could go viral for anything. So one of my favorite things, like I'll get a channel in its infancy and it's really funny, and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, it's super popular. So
oh really? Do you do TikTok, Levy?
No, I want to, but I haven't. It's like the same thing with Instagram. It's always on my to-do list, like, hey, conceptualize a funny thing and like make one, and then I just never do it. But yeah, I'll probably do something in the future. But
Yeah, if you guys are watching, we do have a TikTok. And it's under Andrea's name. It's Andrea Botes. So if you guys want to check it out, it's not. Sorry, it's Andrea Botes. So yeah, there we go. We have our TikTok as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to plug on your channel as well.
same. I got real Gotham chess because dude took Gotham chess and I reported it, but the guy's still there. So one guy made a Gotham fan page. He named it "We Love Levy." So
Oh, that is really sweet. That is really
yeah,
sweet.
so that's that guy's authorized to use my clips and stuff. But
That's great. Bishop a3 was played, so this was kind of similar to the idea you pointed out after
Yep.
bishop a5. It looks a little bit weird because you're putting your bishop on the side and you're also putting it behind one of your pawns. But of course, he wants to push b5 at some point. And I guess he's open for these trades because if bishop takes a3, you can take with your rook and start preparing to double.
Yeah, I'm starting to like this more from Magnus, actually. I think his attack is a bit faster. Like b5 is coming, but Hikaru probably just won't take back with the queen because then the queen will be hit in the way of the bishop. Probably you'd play cd6. But it's he's got to move his bishop and play f5. And I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, yep. So he's preparing the pawn push, and f5 is coming. As soon as f5 comes, he can just take the bishop on d6. So he's not in a rush to do that. I guess Magnus can either decide to go for something explosive now and push b5, or just wait and make simple rook moves and just prepare something like rook fe1. If he knows f5 is coming and he wants to take the bishop, just put his rook on a semi-open file. Playing the slow game.
Yep. These last two games have been much less about attacking. And much more about some more maneuvering. Okay, let's go cd6 because queen d6 just loses. b5 is played anyway. Now put your knight here and get rid of this bishop. Knight a5 probably.
Knight a5. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that light squared bishop. Can Magnus try to hold on to it? Can he play bishop a2? That looks terrible. I'm guessing no.
Actually, it might be fine. I don't know. He could also just let the trade happen, but I don't think he should do that. Why would he let the trade happen?
Right. I mean, if he can keep his bishop there, it makes sense that he would try to. But at the same time, he is making a lot of progress. Maybe he can grab the pawn on a6. No, because then he ruins his pawn structure. This is tricky. This is tricky. Opa, mom, you opened the light on top of my head.
Open the light.
Turned on the light. Sorry.
My light is on. I got the lights that point at the wall behind me or over there.
Well, you know, I think in Romanian, that's the way you say it.
Open the light.
Maybe it's not. Deschide lumina. Maybe. I try to basically blame all of my bad English on being a bilingual kid and having weird habits that just stuck with me since. But I know it's not legit, but I still do it because everybody needs excuses, you know? Aprende. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so I said it wrong in both languages.
Lumina sounds like a tech startup that makes like super eco-friendly things.
Or something that is like supposed to be some kind of nootropic to make your brain work better. It does sound it reminds me of luminosity.
Yeah. The brain app.
Yeah. Okay, so knight a5 was played, and what are you expecting from Magnus here? Anything come to mind?
I don't understand why he wouldn't play bishop a2 unless there's like a really quick tactical refutation of the idea. Computer just wants bishop d5. It's like, you want to take my bishop? Okay, great. Take it and help me activate my queen to the middle and then put some pressure on d6. But
Right.
if there's opposite colored bishops, then it's okay to be down a pawn, as we just saw in Fabiano's game. That's completely fine.
Okay. And I mean, yeah, bishop a2 is a very intuitive move because it's nice to keep the bishop pairs. I like the bishop d5 that you suggested as well. Well, I guess the computer suggested, but that still works. Is there any world where Magnus decides to just keep his bishop on c4? Yes, there is, and he just played it. He played bishop b4. So if knight takes c4, I guess he's able to take with a knight, and he's putting so much pressure on d6, and d5 does not work because then you just grab the e5 pawn.
Magnus is basically like, all right, go ahead and take my bishop. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Knight
Yeah.
c4, and then I have all this. Okay, and Hikaru just takes b5, defends. And now we start to think.
Okay, so what are you predicting the chances are? What is the white win versus draw probability? And I know you're pulling them out of nowhere and I'm putting you on the spot, but it makes it a little more fun.
Like probably 2/3, 1/3. Probably
Okay.
2/3 chance that Magnus finds a way to apply some pressure here. But the thing is, I don't know how. Like, I'm glad he has to do it.
No, yeah, I'm glad our job is to sit back and commentate, and their job is to find the moves.
Yeah, because again, like, he will probably need to trade a piece. Something like bishop d5, allow a trade, isolate one of these weaknesses. It's going to be a very, very gradual and slow process. And Hikaru's a pretty good defender, so I'm giving him... I was going to say 60-40. I was going to say 60-40. It was a lot clearer last game because there was a lot less pieces on the board. Here, Hikaru can still create counterplay. f6, d5, like something in the center. Magnus will need to be very, very precise. Nepo score needs to be updated. I don't update the scoreboard, so if somebody fell asleep.
Sorry, who's do we need to update? Nepo?
Yeah. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah.
Does it? Wait, what? Oh, because it's 2-1? Ah, yeah. Listen.
Here you go.
We got
Here you go. I got you.
Oh, you updated it?
Yep. 2-1. There you go. Easy.
Teamwork. Rajabov and Giri, how we doing, boys? All right, let me go check on you guys. All right, you guys got a weird position. Is that time situation right? Rajabov has 3.5 minutes to 15? No way.
12 to 13 is what I see. What do you see?
I see 5 to...
You know, it would be really nice to live on a platform where we don't have to guess the time. It definitely makes things more interesting when we have to be like, oh, we don't really know what the time is. Is it this? It could be that. But that's okay. That's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. I will refrain from adding on any more comments.
Yep, that's all that we have to say here. So Rajabov versus Giri, it's down to the wire. Rajabov is up a pawn here with the white side of the pieces, and he is going to be pushing for a win because then it's going to mean he wins this set.
Rajabov's game is super weird. Let's pull this up real quick. Yeah, Anish is in serious trouble. Let me just put Hikaru and Magnus over here.
Yeah, you have the more complicated setup where you have multiple boards you're showing.
Knight 94 is a good move here from Rajabov. They've had different waves of people having advantages in these positions. But... Alright, I should say in this mini-match. But, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out.
No worries. Which game are you? Which game are you currently at? Are you staying on the Magnus game, or are you looking at the?
No, 94 is really strong for Rajabov because if you take it Queen D4, and you attack this and this, and apparently not even that. After 94, you have Rook C8. That's very brutal. Why are you so mean, computer? Can you just calm down?
Yeah, 94. So your bishop on B7 is hanging. you don't reply to it because you play knight e4 and you're putting pressure on the knight on d4 and on f6. So I think if your bishop hangs in that situation, then I guess you can just take the knight. If queen takes, then you grab with the bishop and you just traded off all of the knights and you're still up a pawn. And you have the open file.
I think Rajabov is in pretty good shape, and he has played knight e4.
He did just play it? Okay, so he saw it. Impressive.
Yeah. Let's bring back our matchup. All right, Hikaru's going for counterplay. There it is.
As
F5.
he should, as he should. Woo, F5. Okay, this is nice. Nice. This is getting a little juicier. F5 looks intimidating. Doesn't have any direct threats though. So Magnus just continues with bishop e6, putting pressure on the rook. He's not really attacking f5, but at least his bishop isn't going to get taken anymore, so he can hang on to the bishop there. His bishop is going to be a little awkwardly placed on e6, though. Easy to kick out with a move like rook f6.
Rook f6. Yeah, I mean, okay, Hikaru just probably won't lose his rook. He'll play rook b8.
Yes, good call, Levy. Hikaru is going to hold on to his rook for sure.
It's a very nice computer move here. d4 by white. I mean...
d4? Oh.
Yeah, sacking a pawn but damaging the structure. And if d4, e4, queen f4, it's really hard to defend this. If Magnus finds d4, there can be some serious problems. Man, computer is so scummy. d4, what a move.
That is so nice. Okay, so d4, what if Hikaru doesn't take? Because he doesn't want to mess up his pawn structure. Let's say he just kicks the bishop out with rook f6 that we were discussing before as well. Because if you push d5, then all of a sudden c4 is a backwards pawn. Maybe the knight is going to hop to c5. Oops.
Yeah, but then rook f6 is at least met with d5, and then you can lock in this bishop. But it's a big decision. I mean, d4, rook f6, that doesn't look... Does that really look okay to push the pawn all the way to d5 and allow black this structure? And then, I don't know, black can play bishop f7. Yeah. I don't know if it's very human.
It's very unclear to me that you would want something like this, especially closing off the position and then giving your opponent the chance with the two knights.
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. And he doesn't do it. But now he could do it, apparently. Now d4 is... Yeah, and now he does it.
Oh, he took the knight first. Interesting, because now, if he does end up pushing d5... his pawn structure is not as bad. He has a passed pawn and the a5 pawn is the target. So that was a very nice improvement on the computer line, if I may say so. Even though I don't even know if you can really improve computer lines, but if someone can, these players can. Okay,
so rook f6 d5 is the idea, I guess. And Magnus basically gave Hikaru this isolated target on the outside. It's really difficult to guard. I don't think Hikaru is gonna lock the structure. I don't know. Maybe f4 to activate the bishop. This is a wild game. Really, really wild game. Probably f4.
But you know, Hikaru does have a little bit of time on his side. 9 minutes versus 6. Not a big difference right now, but if he's able to improve his position a little bit, it might be something that helps him tip it in his favor towards the end, even if it's just getting a draw and winning the set.
The top computer move is apparently bishop e8. I mean, if the man plays that move, he deserves
to... ban computers. What is this? Bishop e8?
Is the idea bishop e8, d5? Like, bishop e8, if white does nothing, play d5 and then take and then win the b5 pawn? That's actually very cool. So then that would probably force d5 by white. It's only a move you can appreciate with noise making. Like, you know, like a confused dog is like, roar? Bishop e8 is...
Yeah, exactly. What? I guess it's not that crazy because you're putting pressure on a pawn, but to also couple it with the idea of d5 is pretty wild to see. Yeah. But okay, we'll see if he ends up playing this line. Well, we'll let Magnus do the hard thinking.
Sorry, I was putting off responding to a timely message for like 3 hours. Like sometimes I do this during the show. There's like an action item, and I'm like, I'm gonna respond on the first break, and then 3 hours later I still haven't responded, and then that thing
Yeah.
doesn't get done on that day.
Yeah, and then it delays a lot of things, right?
Yeah, so I need to.
Yeah, I took a quick look at my phone for something similar, and someone is like, "How unprofessional of Alexander," and I just banned him.
That's probably
I just banned him.
Yeah,
I'm like,
see,
dude, I'm commentating on my channel. Don't even.
I I don't I let the mods do it, but I always like to respond. I just looked over at chat, just looked up. Some dude said that I did something weird. Like I don't even. Guy's name was Glutinik. The guy's name is Glute. His name is Butt. You named yourself Butt, and you're calling me weird.
But again, I don't. I always feel bad. Just picking on chat. So okay,
No,
he played Rook F6, not Bishop E8.
Yeah, he didn't.
And now we have D5. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, Bishop E8 is like, what do you want from the guy? I mean, you want him to go Bishop E8. So
no, it's unreasonable.
He trades bishops, and essentially, I think his argument is that A5 is weak, but so is C4, and so he has a chance to win C4 by moving his knight and then moving something to defend. But it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun. Magnus is gonna win the A pawn, and then he's gonna try to.
Right. Queen C3 looks really straightforward here, but then I guess there's A4, so you don't get the pawn right away. Maybe Rook A4 to block it first, and then play Queen C3. Could make it a little bit more easy. And he can even double up with, or actually he can play Rook A4 and Rook A1. That's probably the easiest plan here.
Yeah. You're right. I think, okay, but here's the thing. Magnus will play Rook A3.
Why Rook A3 instead of Rook A4?
Probably you don't want to get hit with Knight C8, Knight B6. That's the problem, because then the Rook is hanging and C4 is hanging.
Got it. Okay, so it does matter. So that's why you want to play Rook A3, and if Knight C8, no big deal. Just bring in your queen to defend the pawn on C4.
Yeah, that's why I think Rook A3 is better, because then the queen can come to C3, defend C4, defend A5.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why he has to go to A2 or A3. That's going to be the game. It's going to go for A5. Hikaru will try to defend it or create counterplay on C4. Guys, ready? Mm-hmm. This is going to be the next, 20 minutes of the game. It's going to be putting pressure on A5 and C4. And may the best man win. And I know computer says +2, but whatever.
This is not clear at all. So then what about for Hikaru? Do you think he still has any chances to go for a kingside attack with his pawn on F5 and E5?
No, I don't think so. I think it's way too slow. Anything you move, the queen just moves over. Maybe if this was a blitz game, you can play E4, F4, F3. Magnus goes C5. So he also thinks that he's got a weakness. Oh my god, I mean, the computer suggestions now are so ludicrous. This is just impossible. It wants Rook B8. Just wants very calm Rook B... Like, what even is that? There's no human plays Rook B8 here. Shut up. You're stupid.
So I mean, Hikaru must be considering D takes C5. It looks like a move that you need to consider here, because then you're splitting the B and D brothers. No more guy protecting them from the back. D takes C5. Oh, you have D6 maybe. Attacking the knight, and the queen can't take because the rook is hanging.
Yeah. So his idea is that you just can't take. I mean, I think that's what we should. It's not knight C5, guys. It's D6. This is the big problem. Queen can't take. You hang your rook.
Because then if he can't take, this looks like a very strong move. Rook B8 moves the rook out of that diagonal and also puts pressure on B5. So maybe it is more of a findable move than we originally thought.
Yeah, so maybe E4? Attack the queen now?
E4, okay. So that there's no more diagonal tricks.
Yep,
And then
so
I guess you play queen c3 to attack a5, defend c5.
no, I don't think you can play queen c3 because... Wait, what? Why can you play queen c3? I don't... Isn't... Oh, so the computer just wants to hang a pawn with tempo and then just play queen d2. Shut up. You don't even know anything about chess, computer. Like, what do you... No. I'm overruling what Stockfish says.
Okay, so there was a very weird copy paste.
Okay.
Very confusing.
I figured that what I said wasn't so like conversation stopping. I figured you probably saw something in the chat. Yeah, sometimes I look over and I'm just like, someone just needs therapy. That's all it is, and that's
why I like that I look into your chat and there's just Big Frog.
yeah, they just big frogging.
Soothing. He's just rolling.
I haven't seen. It's been 3 hours, 34 minutes, and 19 seconds. I've seen like 2 mean comments, like and one to me, one to you, the usual. Man, you know what? I'm not gonna name names. I'm not. No, they don't even. I think Hikaru has to play e4. He needs to he has to play e4 and take c5. If he takes c5, he gets hit with d6. I don't think he can survive that. And if he doesn't take c5 at some point, Magnus plays c6 and okay, time to resign. We come back and play tomorrow. So, so you have to go e4 and then probably you have to take on c5.
E4 and takes. Okay, so let's look at that line. So e4, queen c3, and then d takes c5.
I don't think Magnus is gonna play queen c3.
Interesting. What do you think he'd play instead?
Actually, there's one thing that I just realized. He doesn't need to go queen d2 after knight takes d5. He has queen c4, which pins the knight to the rook. But then I have dc5, and then I'm defending. And then if you play rook d1, I have rook d7. And then if you play knight c5, I have knight b6.
You went too fast and I didn't put the line on, but I'm looking at it on your side.
Yeah.
Whoa, a4 was played.
Which is another problem with playing c5. So chat, y'all gonna have to keep us up to date on what Ceci thinks. Did it like a4? Did it want e4? Whoa! Oh, he's given the knight anyway. Oh, this is bad. Oh, that's bad. That doesn't look good at all.
Wait. Why couldn't you take the knight here? Because b6, I'm guessing. Oh, rook takes a8, queen takes, and then b6, and the pawns are rolling.
This is what Magnus wanted, but this could backfire. I mean, this could, because now Hikaru's blockaded, which is not what you want when you have the pawns like that. And Hikaru has a passed a pawn.
Right. So he can't actually take the knight here because the rook is hanging. So he doesn't have to worry about that yet. But he should worry about his pawns no longer making progress. He has to defend b5, and there's only 2 ways to do it, queen e2 and queen d3.
Yeah, but did Hikaru just hang the a pawn?
I think he just hung the a pawn. Is there some trade he thinks that is okay after this, or is that just a blunder?
I think he just straight up just blundered. I think maybe he thought he had queen b5 here. I don't know why he doesn't have queen b5, by the way, but I'm just.
Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out too. So queen b5, queen takes, rook takes.
Probably like rook a7.
Okay, so rook a7, but then you're dropping a knight.
Yeah, but okay. Well, let's put it on the board. Queen b5. Oh, c7.
c7 is blocked by the knight though.
No.
So maybe that's why you have to play rook a8 first.
Rook a4, queen b5, c7 would have won the game. So Hikaru played knight g6. But if he had played queen takes b5, there would have been c7. Yeah, I guess he missed c7. Nah,
computer move on the current position. Just take the knight and then play knight d4.
Yeah, I was gonna say queen d4, but then queen b5. So yeah, knight d4. I don't know if Magnus gonna. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to do that, but it does look very. Oh, he did it. He takes f4, knight d4. I mean, this is a really annoying position. So he's just sacking the exchange because Hikaru has just a terrible pawn structure now, but also his rooks are going to be tied to defending against these 2 passers. Yeah,
we did say when the pawn was on c5 that if Hikaru didn't take it, c6 was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to come even in the cost of potentially sacrificing a knight, but I did warn against this, and that was tough. I mean, losing the a4 pawn, there was the trick there. Yeah, I mean, it's a one mover. I mean, he just forgot that rook takes a4 is possible, but the trend of the game was not going in the right direction for some time, you know? Like, this was... But... Hey, I could watch this all day. This feels like, you know, it would be 10 wins for one side and 10 wins for the other, so...
I mean, 2-2, these were the only players who had every single game decisive. And I can't remember the last time it's been so decisive like this before. They came here to play.
Very tough position. Black just has no moves now.
Yeah. So, okay, Black has no moves, but Magnus still needs to win. He has to make progress here. He can't take the pawn on f5 right away because b5 is hanging, but I guess he could just defend it and then take it and free his knight from defending b5. And that's probably the difficulty, because then he can either gobble pawns or... He doesn't even need to push his pawns. He can just go win free pawns and then push his pawns. Magnus and his lip balm, says someone in my chat.
Yeah, I mean, F3's actually a nice try, because yeah, if you take with the knight, you lose your b pawn. If you take with the queen, you lose your knight. The problem is if Magnus just takes with the pawn, there's nothing there.
Yeah, G takes f3 looks really strong here. Oh, and Magnus doesn't even take. He just plays rook c1.
Yeah. Yep.
That's interesting. Rook c1, not rook b1 to defend. So he wants to push c7.
C7. Yep. Queen e3. Queen trade, of course, winning for white. Good move. Yeah. F takes g2 is not really a problem. You take with the king. Like I said, Black doesn't have a lot of moves. Once you miss rook a4, it's game over. Hikaru's done a really good job defending in some of these games. I don't know how the hell you defend this position. I mean, you just can't move. But we will see.
Yeah, and it's not even clear where Hikaru went wrong. Maybe do you think if he hadn't pushed a4, he would have been okay?
Well,
it was still very difficult. No, I mean that was already.
He hung rook a4. But before that, I don't know really. Yeah, I guess a4 was maybe, but he was fine. So yeah, it was just rook b8. And rook takes a4, and
I mean it was a tough game the entire time. It's not like he blundered. I mean he missed, but I don't know if you'd count that as something he really overlooked.
Here comes queen b5, queen b5, queen b5, c7. You got to sack your rook. Maybe take. No, it's yeah. You can't do anything because the knight on c7 is gonna protect d5.
Yeah. Wow. Well, 2-2, very good result. And we're going to see them going back at it.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be crazy. And tomorrow also has charity, so...
who are you guys raising for?
The same. I think it's Care.
For Care?
But I don't actually know. We have a call later to coordinate, so I don't want to say what charity it is, and then it turns out to be a totally different charity. But that is the plan for tomorrow, yeah. Be exciting. Hit 1 million already in 3 tournaments, so.
Sorry, just 1 second, replying to Andrea for something.
I'm just seeing how long we can hold silence without chat malfunctioning. Don't skip working out. I won't.
I'm not gonna look at people telling me I'm unprofessional. I just need to check because my mom is leaving today.
The game is over. It's 2-2. 4 decisive results. Let's go take a look at Timur. Mr. Timur. Let's see what's gonna happen in this game. Damn, what a day of chess. That was. And there I see Hikaru has entered the chat. I'm gonna have
he's gonna come in on the call.
Yep. Well, Caruana's winning against.
How's it going, you guys?
Hey Hikaru. Really nice fight today. Incredible games.
It's one way of putting it. I mean, I should have won the match today. Let's leave it at that.
Yes, in the last game, but it was. I mean, look, from us
No,
normie
but I
point
mean,
of view, it was so tough. So I
but
can't wait to hear
the
it
whole
soon.
point is that I just blundered though. Like I spent like all this time looking at this crazy long line. So if you go to the position,
Yeah, first I gotta crop your face. Okay,
Sure.
I've cropped your face. There
Yeah.
we go.
no, I mean like if you go to this position when I played Rook B8, like when I played this whole line with Queen B6, I think it was, I spent like 5 minutes on this position and I just missed that he has C7 after Queen takes B5. Like my whole, like I spent forever on the following line. So knight D2, or wait, sorry, Rook B8, Rook A4, Queen B5, and I just missed C7 because the line that I spent all my time on was Queen takes B5,
Rook B5?
Rook takes B5. Yeah, because there's this very weird line, Rook A8, King H7, C7, Rook B3, Rook C1, and the idea is to go Rook E8 next move. So like I spent all my time here, and then I found that Rook B7, Rook E8, Knight C8 is actually a draw. But I mean, again, Rook C8, King G6. So I spent like forever, and then I just missed this C7 move. This was why I spent like 5 minutes in this position, because I wasn't sure about this endgame. So I spent 5 minutes there, and then like I mean, it's just terrible. I think if I had done anything else, I mean, I should not have lost this game. I mean, it was just a very, very bad decision to allow him to play C6. I mean, I think also E4, and I'm completely fine instead of A4, just E4, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I should lose. I mean, the point is that I let it get to a position where if I slip and I make a wrong move, I end up losing. That's the whole problem. I mean, and yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate.
It seemed.
I mean, both games I'm pretty unhappy with as black, to put it. I mean, also, so we can also talk about the first one if you want as well.
Yeah, because we were the first one was like, do you take his bishop or do you let him sack, right? And then I guess you let him.
Well,
sacrifice.
I mean, the problem is that my brain just my brain malfunctioned during the game. I misremembered the line because I had this exact position against Fabiano in a previous tour event, maybe 6-7 months ago, and in that one I took on E3 here with the knight. But the problem was during the game, for whatever reason, I thought I took with the other knight on D5. I thought I took with the E knight, or with the F knight. So I thought I had to take with the E knight, and my brain just, I mean, I kind of realized as soon as he played Queen D2 that it was problematic. Yeah, because if I take with knight D5, the whole difference is after F D5, Queen D2, C6, there's just knight F5 on any sack. But basically, I kind of during the game, I realized that it was wrong, and I remembered that I actually kind of remembered when I was thinking on knight takes E3 there, whether to play it or not, that I got a very bad position against Fabiano. Now, somehow I kind of got lucky and I didn't lose that game, but I was much worse. So I mean that was inexplicable, but that was just my brain. I mean, I thought I took in the game with the other knight, and then as soon as he played Queen D2, I realized that it was the wrong one. And maybe it's okay for a computer here still, but it's very hard to play.
That's definitely, yeah. It's kind of what we felt because there was one game in the base. Alexandra and I were discussing how there's a certain knight that has to take. It's interesting. The E knight has to go to F5 to prevent that, and yeah.
I mean, but like I said, that was just, I mean, after bishop h6 again, I think it's just winning, right?
Bishop h6 is let me see. Apparently, well, you have to go knight h7. I'm curious why you didn't, because it's like it's like the usual way with queen f6. What did you see after knight h7? Instead of bishop f5?
What did I see? I mean, I thought there was some trick here with like. I assume there was some trick because the bishop on b6 is unprotected. Like maybe there's nothing, but I thought like bishop d5 and rook e5 maybe was good. I wasn't sure. I thought there was some trick. But I mean maybe I'm just insane. Yeah, I mean maybe it's okay, but I mean the thing is, like, after he blitzes out bishop h6, it's just a very tough position to play no matter how you break it down.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean I'm not that upset about that game because that was just a bad decision. I mean, bad decision, brain forgetting the previous correct move order, whatnot. But Magnus played quite well. But the last game was definitely the one that I should not have lost, and I'm not happy about that. So it happens.
Yeah, because it seemed like the worst was kind of over. I mean, at least when he played c5, it felt like That was a very double.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think it was a big mistake of me to play rook b8. Like, I don't know why I didn't just go rook a8. For some reason, I saw the boogeyman after bishop e6, and I didn't go to a8. If I go to a8, I think it's much different, isn't it? Like rook a8 here.
Yeah.
But maybe he has d4.
Yeah, he had this
he has
d4
d4.
move, yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay. So actually, it's funny. I mean, maybe because the position I think was okay later. I'm pretty upset. On the flip side, I mean, Magnus could have inverted the order. I guess it's just good for white. So it's kind of weird to evaluate how I should feel now, having seen this d4 move. But yeah, I mean, what did I miss exactly? So keep going after takes d4.
Well,
I mean, was rook f6 wrong?
Chat was pointing out that after d4, Ceci wanted you to go bishop e8. Did you look at that move?
I saw bishop h7 and knight g6. I didn't think about bishop e8.
Bishop h7, knight g6 actually is also
valid. I saw actually because the reason I saw is because I thought I could play e4.
Yeah.
I thought I could play e4 and then queen f4 and then bishop h7, knight g6, and you go f4 and it's just all in. But yeah, basically the thing is, yeah, I mean, okay, bishop h7, bishop e8. I mean, pretty hard to play, I think. I thought my idea was good though, rook f6, because there's going to be counterplay with the knight getting to f4. So yeah, but I mean, as I said, like the problem is I spent like 4 minutes calculating a super long variation, making sure that it was a draw at the end, and then I just missed c7 after queen takes b5.
Yeah, we also couldn't, but we figured once you didn't take on b5 and played knight g6 instead, that something had gone
yeah,
wrong.
but I mean, if queen b5 c7, I mean.
No, yeah, you can't.
I mean, it's just losing. I mean, the whole thing was I didn't see c7. I looked at this other variation because I had to make sure that it was a draw, and I think it is a draw. But again, I overlooked this little in between move, and it happens.
Apparently, after c7, queen b3, white's winning move is rook a8.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I saw this. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw queen c7, I'm like, okay, queen b5 c7 takes rook a8, and I just lose. So I thought, okay, whatever, just go knight g6 and try to do something. But I mean, it's just lost. I just blundered c7. I just made a 1 move blunder.
Yeah, that's rough. But hey, look, on the bright side, the games were at least exciting for us to watch, and it seemed like you were really on top of your form until the last game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the second game was I mean, just a blowout. I didn't really get a good position, but I think in both the white games I played pretty well, and I thought that I just outplayed Magnus in both the first game and the third game. But then, unfortunately, he had white in 2 games. In the first one, he played very well, and the second one, I think was up and down. But yeah, I blundered a critical moment, unfortunately. So I mean, it's what it is. 2-2 is certainly not the end of the world by any stretch.
Were you? There's 2 more games to go, but so I have them up. But did you?
Oh, 2 more in this round. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you wake up expecting blood and guts? I mean, 4 decisive results is just about the best thing that the spectators could ask for.
I mean, I think what I would say is that I feel like I played really well today. I mean, one blunder cost me the 4th game, but overall I played quite well. So it's hard to be that unhappy. I mean, obviously I would have liked to have won the match, but nonetheless, it's a good start, especially with the colors being favorable tomorrow.
Because tomorrow you start with white.
No, tomorrow start with black.
Sorry, right. And you like starting off with black. I think you mentioned that before. Why was that again?
Because I mean, in any match format, you want to have white in the last game. Whether you're ahead, whether you're behind, whether it's tied, you want to have white in the final game.
I guess it gives you that flexibility on if you need to attack or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like so. For example, in the final against Magnus, sure, I was behind after the first match, but the thing is, when you start with white, let's just say you draw 2 with white, draw 1 with black. In that final game, you're going to be under a lot of pressure with black. And I think it's always easier to play. It's easier to like have white in the final game. It always is. And I think Magnus would actually say that himself, that like in a world championship match, for example, you always want to have white in the final game. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. But again, I mean, 2-2 is not a bad result. It's only a bad result because I thought I got a lot of good positions, and I don't think I should have lost the final game.
Yeah, I think that's fair from what we were seeing from you today as well. Do you have any thoughts on how the two of you are playing in terms of you were really on top of your form? Do you feel like Magnus is as well?
I mean, I thought like we both played pretty well with white, and I think we were both just terrible with black, for
Oh,
lack of a better word. I mean, okay, in the final game, you can say that I played decently, but I would say that in the second game, certainly I did not play very well out of the opening, and I think the same could probably be said for Magnus in the first game, especially where like he just didn't get a satisfactory position, and so that's kind of like it's what it is.
I don't know if you want to discuss theory or expectations or any of that stuff, because you have to play potentially 4 more rapid games tomorrow, than Blitz, than Armageddon. But like in that first game today,
Yeah.
he played this DC3 move, which is like almost, it's like not played at all, right? I mean, it's like D3 or something.
He played it against Jan Nepomniachtchi once before, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
In one of these online things, or
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah. So he definitely he had it in a previous game, but yeah, I mean position was very, very bad.
yeah, it seemed like that was a very, very hard defense for him to play, and you just were dominating from the start.
Yeah. So I mean it's again. I thought I played well in my 2 white games. I thought I played reasonably well in one of my black games. I mean, but 2-2 is a reasonable score. It's just it's unfortunate because of the positions that I had. But
Right.
if you had asked me before the day if I would get 2-2 and then having black to start tomorrow, I probably would have said that would be a relatively good result. So it's hard to be too disappointed.
Fair enough. And we still have 2 games going. So I was actually looking at the Caruana Nepo game because I think Caruana is in a need to win situation, and he's up a pawn here. But it's what do you think of this endgame? Does he have chances?
This endgame, I think it should be a draw. Can black play rook d2? Can black go rook d2, rook a3, h4? Maybe I'm wondering if that's maybe one line that can be a draw. Although I think even if black just brings the king to g6 and puts the rook on b4, it should also be a draw.
And so it brings his king to g6 and puts his rook on b4. So basically, he's trying to stop any progress from the king side pawns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that white can get the pawns far enough up the board to be ahead or to make a queen. So it's definitely a draw if Jan plays this correctly. But the other thing that I would say that's important about this is that if you think about the upcoming World Championship match, I mean, these are the sort of positions that like Jan is going to have to defend in that match, and so I think it's already an early indicator of how good his defensive skills are when we see some of these types of end games.
Yeah, fair enough. And it looks like in the Rajabov and Giri game, so they're tied 1.5 and 1.5, and it looks like Rajabov is just going to end up winning that match.
Yeah, I mean, so what? So Wesley won, unsurprisingly. Anish and Timur, I guess. So Timur is winning. Okay, and this game probably is a draw. I'm guessing should be a draw.
Oh,
so yeah.
Sorry. You meant the Caruana Nepo game is the draw, not the Rajabov Giri one. I had.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Timur
no, of course,
is just like. I mean, Timur didn't even go G7 there, which I think was winning. But yeah, it's. I mean, not. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty normal in terms of the scores that you see. I mean, I think I said Wesley was probably a big favorite. I am not surprised to actually see that Jan probably gonna beat Fabiano, and I guess Timur Anish. Kind of surprising to see Timur winning, but
why is it surprising?
You just assume that Anish is just his repertoire is so solid and Timur is so solid that you kind of expect 2-2. I mean, they're both just very, very solid guys.
Well, the openings today were definitely solid. I don't know what the hell went wrong in the second game. I think we had a Berlin, we had a second Berlin, we had the final game was a symmetrical English, but it blew up very quickly. So
okay.
Okay. Oh, it's over. So Rajabov did win. So this is our final game of the day. This rook end game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be exciting. I think it's. What do Which bracket am I on? If I win, am I in the bracket with Geary or Fabiano?
I think you're with Fabiano, so the winner of you Magnus
Okay.
plays the winner of Fabi Nepo.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. Who would you prefer to play?
You mean if I win?
Yes.
I don't have a favorite. I mean, they're both very strong players. I mean, I lost to Jan last time. I mean, both of those guys have been doing a lot of preparation. Unlike me, you know, I just show up and try to play good chess. Everybody else is like studying all the time. So I think they're both very, very dangerous players.
I mean, actually, how do you fit in all of the intense studying with streaming and with playing?
Try to find an hour here or there, and that's that. I mean, like that's that. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, you know, I know people are going to do the hyperpago or whatever, but like, I mean, that's the reality. Like, you know, it's really borderline impossible to stream, you know, 6 or 7 hours every day and study chess for several hours a day. It's just not realistic. So, you know, I just study a little bit here and there and try to stay fresh, and seems to be close to good enough, and for the most part. So yeah.
And do you feel like when you're streaming and say playing blitz games, is that ever helpful for you, or do you think it's more neutral?
I mean, I think it depends sometimes. I think probably the drawback is that a lot of the openings that I play in blitz games online are not my best openings. Like you'll notice that frequently in this event specifically, you'll notice that I'm playing a lot of E4, E5s. You'll notice that I'm playing E4 much more online with white. Most of the time I'm playing things like knight F3 and B3, very, very slow openings. So it's it's difficult, but as I said, find an hour here or there and you know, study, and it seems to be nearly good enough. By the way, what is Jan doing? Jan is promptly losing this game now. I mean,
He did not move his king like you suggested.
because now he gets the king is coming, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is going to be a slightly hot take, but this is why in the match, I think Magnus is a very big favorite objectively against Jan, because I feel like when Jan, like, I'm going to use an analogy. I'm going to use a tennis analogy. Jan is the guy who has like the really big serve. He's the guy who has great openings, is very, very sharp. And if he gets an initiative, he can really just blow you off the board. But if he doesn't get his position, or he ends up in a worse position where he's suffering in an endgame, he has to defend for a long time. I don't think he's quite as good at that as like Fabiano or Anish for that matter. So I think I think that's why Magnus remains a big favorite in the match specifically.
And when you say big favorite, what kind of odds would you put it at?
I think probably I would say about 80-20, I would say. That's what I put it at.
In the classical, right? But in rapid, and if the match goes to the rapid, then I said it was like a 50-50. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, in classical, I think it's 80-20. In rapid, I don't know. Rapid, I think Magnus is a favorite, but it's like 60-40 maybe. I mean, he's not a big advantage in rapid for sure.
Well, that's
and also I think most people put the odds at like 75-25 for Magnus from what I've seen. So it's not like I'm going out on a huge limb by saying that.
Yeah, of course. Well, are there any last drawing chances for him here, or is it just totally over?
Fabiano has to probably flag or something.
I mean, can't Fabiano just play F5 and then H6 and then King H5? And I mean, it looks pretty routine to me, but what do I know? I'm just a streamer.
Just a streamer.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good for. I think F5 is winning. F5 because if you go H6, King G6, G5, that might be winning, but there are still tricks. But F5 and then H6 is winning.
Well, this was a big comeback from Caruana because now he's going to end up tying today. So nice last game with the white side of the pieces, as you said. It's nice to have the white side of the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Jan, he's got to be pretty unhappy with what has happened, because this one actually should have just been a draw. You know, I can say what I want about my game and making a blunder, but it wasn't like the position was completely dead, and it wasn't like a theoretical draw. Whereas this was just a theoretical draw. So yeah, I think for Fabiano, he's back in it again. On the flip side, however, Fabiano probably is a big dog in rapid or an Armageddon game. So Jan still has the advantage, I would say, but of course, it's better to tie a match than lose a match, certainly.
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go. Pawns are
Yeah,
coming.
now h6. Just
Pawns are stormy.
h6. Yeah.
Yeah, Nepo can't move his rook off the a file because then he loses the a pawn and g6.
Yeah.
You know, at least for anybody watching to be instructive, it's
Mhm.
at least a good attempt that he has his rook on a4 and he's trying to keep the king far away. But the king on h8 just cannot stop.
He's trying to set up some funny stalemate here. He's trying to get Fabiano to go f7.
Oh, f7 and then sack his rook. Like
Yeah, he's trying to get
d4,
some
that's
kind of
cute.
really. Yeah, he's trying to get something
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, everything wins here. F6 wins, right? F6, rook a6, rook f2, a2, g7, or f7. I mean, wins. I think. So
Probably f6
Yeah.
is winning, but just don't play f7 and fall into crazy rook territory. That would be.
yeah, I mean, I mean. Oh, there's also this too, which is that Fabiano. You know, it's funny. Fabiano can now march the king all the way over to b3. I think.
And just grab the pawn. Ooh.
Yeah, I think he can just literally walk the king all the way over.
He decides to do
Okay,
it
he goes
this way.
f6.
So.
Oh yeah, this also works, obviously. Okay, so Jan is gonna go king h8 here, I assume, right?
And just pray for the last possibility of saving the game somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
how often does a last ditch attempt like this ever even work with super grandmasters?
not it's too simple here, too simple.
Right.
And I mean, almost there was one game, but there was this game between Ding Liren and I think it was Vidit.
Yeah.
In the Grand Chess Tour in India, where it was rook and a pawn and b pawns against rook, and somehow Ding messed it up and he allowed Vidit to get a stalemate. It was really bad, really bad.
Okay, so it does happen.
It does happen,
every blue moon. Okay.
Yeah.
It's over because if you play a2, there is rook e8, and it's 2-2. So this one's 2-2. Wesley So, the convincing winner of the day. Oh, Timur also won, but they did have 3 draws. But their last game, he ended up winning with the white pieces, and that brings the day to an end. So
yeah, I did want to add something because you guys didn't actually ask me, in fact. But the one thing I was going to say is I think probably most of the chat knows I am here at TSM again. So I decided to come back and play the event here rather than play from home. Which I think actually was really good because it was like much more calming than playing from home. It's just like I don't know, somehow.
Is it nice to get out of your home when you're competing?
I don't know if it's so much that. It's just like probably like from I think October till about December or thereabouts, I was streaming from the facility here at TSM, and then they had to kind of lock it down because of some COVID related things, and so I hadn't been here in a long time, and it just kind of it reminds me a lot of like last year. So I don't know if it's necessarily better per se, but I felt a lot calmer during this match, for example, against Magnus than I did in that match that I played him in the finals maybe like 2 weeks ago or a month ago, whenever it was.
Well, I'm happy that you're back. So are you going to be playing the rest of the tournament from the facility then?
Yeah, that's my intention. Certainly. I mean, I think streaming is setting up OBS and something from like 6 months, change it from 6 months ago won't be so easy, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to kind of come back and play from here, be around some of these people who I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm pretty happy, and yeah, just good to be back. And
that's kind of fun. Do you get to hang out with any of TSM when you're done with the games, or?
I haven't really been doing it. I have a feeling they're probably not even aware that I'm here right now, at least today.
just a grandmaster hanging around.
Yeah, I think they're all over on the other side. I think they're all over on the other side studying for league. I might go say hi to B. Erickson afterwards. But yeah, it's good to be around people again, and it's kind of a reminder of like like 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, that is actually a really nice thing that we didn't think of, because at some point Levy was joking because you were shaking your head and we were wondering if the fire alarm went off again.
No. Actually, no. I was shaking my head because what happened is because there are people who were coming in and out to do filming and things of that nature. So there were people actually in the hallway talking quite loudly during my third game. So that's what it was related to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, so you were actually distracted at some point.
Yeah, just a little bit, but I mean, it's nothing compared to the fire alarms the last 2 days that I had to deal with. Which I mean, I think in some ways I was lucky because they didn't happen at the absolute critical moments in some of the games, but nonetheless, it was quite frustrating.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, friends, another day of the Champions Chess Tour has come to a conclusion. Probably the most exciting day, at least for the fans. I feel like today was very fun, and tomorrow, 4 people will move on, 4 people will not, and also tomorrow is the charity stream. So
Absolutely.
there's a lot of big stuff tomorrow. We don't know how long the show will go. Hopefully, it goes long so we can have time to raise as much money as possible. I'm sure Hikaru will go enjoy the sun. Alexandra will enjoy the company of the Gremlin or Goblin. What is Andrea's nickname?
Both. She goes
both.
with both sometimes.
Both. And I will go on my inspired run around the neighborhood because Alexandra called me fat. So
That is not what happened, Hikaru. I told him exercise has been a positive impact on my life, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to try to exercise also."
yeah.
So very weird interpretation of what I said.
Alexandra did say it. She did not say what I said. Also, I made fun of her for missaying a word. Then she said she was partially dyslexic, so I'm probably getting canceled
Which word?
in a few hours.
Which word?
I don't know. What
I
was it?
said distangle instead of
dis-
untangle.
Oh,
We're
yeah, that's just using but that's not like dyslexia or reading a word wrong, right? Because it's just there's just a difference. It's not like
Man, I could sense my career ending, so I'm gonna enjoy my last few hours.
No, Levy, you're doing great. You're doing great. Oh, detangle. See, I said it wrong again. English is just hard.
but that's not a big deal. It's all good though.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Well,
it's all friendly here.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for the coverage and hope to see you guys again soon on the stream. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Hikaru. Good
Right.
luck with the charity stream tomorrow.
Have a good one, you guys. See you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. See you guys.